All right, what's up, Giga Gamers? Welcome to the Strat Chat. We've got a new stream for you. We've got Wednesday, Meta Wednesday. We're going to be talking about a lot of things right now. First off, thanks to everyone who's been supporting the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. The momentum's been great. Do not forget to check out the sweepstakes on the Discord channel. I'll put the link in the description below. Patch day. Patch 14.5. It's a big one. There are a lot of changes, and we have to announce a change to our format here. Basically, we were going through and trying to adapt everything, but there are people putting out awesome quality videos, so we want to give them a shout out. We are not partnered with them or sponsored in any way, but we're going to be reviewing Skill Capped and their tier list coming off of the patch notes. It's a 20-minute video. We'll be going into everything about it and making some critiques, if there are any, to be had, and just reacting to their video. Also, later we'll be continuing with the SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals on Rakan, and we're going to continue to grow, so make sure that you guys check that out next. All right, so without further ado, let's go. So this is the new tier list for patch 14.5. Again, the link will be in the description. We're going to start off with their system changes, and we're going to listen and react to the things that they have to say, and we'll see where we land relative to them.
Start this one off by covering all of the item changes and discussing which champions are going to be affected by them the most. Enchanter supports have been on the back burner for Season 14, so Riot's buffing up Dreammaker. The shield values going from 140 flat to 75, scaling to 255. Damage has changed as well, going from 90 flat to 50, scaling to 170. Milio, Yuumi, Lulu, Soraka, Nami, and Sona are a few champions who are going to be liking these changes the most. Another one of the weaker
Not really.
item upgrades.
All right, that number, you saw those numbers, that doesn't take effect until after level 11. So you're going to feel those benefits from 11 to 18. They are actually, it's net neutral at 10, and it's worse at 9, 7, 8, etc. So that's the majority of the game for your supports. This is actually a nerf. I'm sure they meant it as a buff, but only in the hyper late game when your supports are actually climbing to past level 13. Is it really going to be noticeable? And it is definitely a nerf at the moment you get the item, so this is actually just a nerf to Dreammaker.
Is being buffed for this patch, with Celestial Opposition next up. Cooldown is being reduced from 20
This is a
to
huge
18
buff.
seconds. The slow is buffed as well, going from 50 to 60%.
This is massive. An extra quarter second and 10% is huge.
Melee supports like Blitzcrank, Nautilus, Thresh, Leona, and Alistar have been running Celestial the most in recent patches, so they should all see a nice uptick in power for 14.5. Now there is one support upgrade that's
really
being
every
nerfed
single
for 14.5,
champion that wants to
and
jump
it's
into the
Solstice
fight.
Slay. Cooldown's being increased from 20 to 30
Huge
seconds.
nerf.
Bonus health is up from 7% max health to 50, scaling to 230. Decaying movement speed is also being reduced from 30 to 25%. Supports like
comma to go back frame by frame here. I want to just get this image up. Maybe I should have gone back 5 seconds. This is actually really good production by them. Like, they're going frame by frame with this thing moving. This is fantastic animation. All right, cooldown 20 to 30, 7% max HP. So if you have about 2000 HP, that's 140. So at the stages in the game, again, where this is going to matter, health early game, this is a big nerf. All right, you're going to be significantly lower in the early game. Again, 1 to 8, assuming these 18 levels match 1 to 18, this is only going to be better as you start scaling into the end game. But this is a tremendous nerf. 10 seconds extra on the cooldown means you're not getting it twice in a fight. The decaying move speed is also going down. This is a huge nerf. Paired with the Celestial Opposition, this is a big change to the meta of bot lane. And it's going to affect everyone because Celestial Opposition is just the best item. These are the strongest items in the entire game. So any change in this meta specifically is going to be a change in the entire meta.
Supports like Maokai, Braum, and Rakan have been running Solstice the most in recent patches, so they're going to be hit the hardest by these nerfs. So we've got a few tank
except all of them can just play Celestial Opposition.
Heartsteel up first. The passive base damage is being changed from 100 flat to 80, but the item health scaling is going up from 10 to...
This is huge. The item itself already gives 900 health, and if you have a Dorn's item, that's already putting you at 1,000. So this extra 2% is going to beat this 20, and so that right there makes it flat, just better. And then every other health item you buy on top of that is going to make this significantly stronger.
Riot has these changes listed as buffs, so we can assume the health skin.
it's still going to be a difficult item to build for a lot of champions, because if you don't have control in your kit in any way, shape, or form, then this still doesn't help you do that. So this is very much about the 1v1, trying to get many procs off, and then reaching this critical mass where you can get into the middle of the fights and not really care that you're slow, like a Cho'Gath who already has the crowd control. Even though champions like Shen should really want to synergize this, it's going to be better on champions like Cho'Gath and Sion that can also offer other ways to control a fight.
Scaling change is going to outweigh the flat damage nerf. Mundo, Tahm Kench,
definitely good for
Cho'Gath,
tanks
and
overall,
Sion
though.
are the champions who are gonna
Specifically Tahm
benefit from
Kench
this
too,
buff
right?
the
Like getting in the middle
most.
of the fight.
Sunfire is the other tank item that's going to be buffed, as Riot's increasing the
Hollowed
health on the
Radiance did
item
not
from
get buffed.
450 to 500. Immolate damage is up as well from 12 to 15. Now there's a ton of tanks who like to run Sunfire, so this is just a general buff to tanks across the board. After removing a bunch of power from Rocket Belt a few patches ago.
So you notice that the Celestial Opposition got tankier. The Solstice Slay, which was like a playmaking support item, got nerfed. Dreammaker is worse early, but better later. Bomby Cinder, this is very much about League of Tanks, right? All the tanks are going to be much, much stronger in this patch.
So Riot circling back around to
which will make hyper carries that much more important.
issue some buffs for 14.5. Cost of the item is being increased by 100 gold. However, the AP on the item is up by 10.
That's
Since
a net
10
ben-
AP is worth
net
200
benefit.
gold, this is a net buff to Rocket Belt. Nico, Kinnan, Fiddle, and Echo have been the biggest Rocket
still have
Belt
to
users in recent patches,
deal with
so they're gonna
Lich
get
Bane. That
their
was
strength
the
back
big
for
item.
14.5. Now, it wasn't just Rocket Belt that Riot over-nerfed a couple patches ago, as Storm Surge has been pretty weak for a while now. Riot's given it a small buff for this patch, with the movement speed being increased from 5 to
Small
8%.
buff.
A ton
3%
of
move
mages
speed is
and
one of the best
assassins are
buffs
gonna
you can
benefit
possibly
from this
get.
one, with Fizz, Vex, and Diana being the champions who purchase Storm Surge the most. So with both of these AP items being buffed, Riot's throwing in a nerf to Lich Bane, reducing the Spellblade AP ratio proc from 50 to 45%. Lich Bane has definitely been one of the more broken items in recent patches.
Lich Bane was the strongest mage item in the entire game.
Nerf like this. Expect for Lich Bane to remain extremely powerful for 14.5. Frozen Heart has been the most OP tank item for Season 14, so it's being nerfed for a second time here. Cost of the item is going up from 2,400 to 2,500 gold. Armor is being reduced from 70 to 65. Lots of tanks and melee supports are going to be losing a bit of strength as a result of
This is also to compensate for the fact that Bomby Cinder went up and Celestial Opposition went up. They don't want to have an oppressive amount of tankiness in the game, apparently, but this is going to create like a sort of neutralizing effect where if you get one of those other buffs, the Frozen Heart going down, it's going to keep people at the same length. We talk about this a lot, that AD carries won't be relevant again until tanks are relevant. And once tanks are relevant and they're actually dominant against assassin classes, that's when you need carries, right? Your traditional marksman is the worst role in the game right now because bruisers don't need to care. They just kind of walk at them. And the tanks are too threatening, like Cassante are too threatening. So they need to get tankier and less damage, and then the marksman will actually have a role again in this game. Something like Frozen Heart getting a little bit worse is going to make marksman life a little bit better. And items like Bomby Cinder being better for the tanks should help move the needle in that direction.
nerfs. So starting it off hot up in the top lane, these Wukong buffs may very well be the most impactful changes of the patch. Max passive stacks are going down from 10 to 5, and the kicker though is that you now receive 50% more value per stack. Stacks are going to now also fall off one by one instead of all at once. So as you can see in the background gameplay here, you get the same amount of armor at max stacks. However, you now reach max stacks in half the time, which is honestly pretty wild. So you're going to be able to reach max stacks extremely fast now, which is going to significantly increase the dueling strength of Wukong in the early game. Wukong was already a bit of a stat check champion due to all of his point and click damage, but this is just going to make it really nuts. As a result of these buffs, we're going to be moving Wukong from B and into S tier for 14.5.
That's a pretty big jump. And when you're talking about the professional levels of play and the highest, theory craft levels, excuse me.
So top lane,
they are going to take that and push it to the absolute limit. The fact that you can get the stacks twice as quickly means that combat power is going to be good. But for the masses, if you're playing underneath Elite ELO, so under D2, if you're playing Emerald or lower, people aren't going to use this, right? So that's not going to change your existence. If you're playing higher, then yes, that is going to matter. But playing in the masses, like if you're playing Wukong, you actually need to use this buff. You absolutely need to take advantage of the system change and go in and actually fight people and brawl early, because that's when the passive is best.
Playing Zac has been performing pretty well in recent patches, so Riot wants to tone it down a bit for 14.5. Passive healing is being reduced by 1% max health. W base damage is actually being increased though by 5 at all ranks. These changes probably end up slightly net negative, but we can't see them being enough to warrant a push down the tier list for Zac, so he'll continue to be placed in the S tier.
Hold on, that does not match what I remember seeing on the patch notes. Zac, they don't mention the cell division here. All they mention is that this is a 5 damage buff early and then a nerf late, and that really doesn't matter because it's the spell that you're putting 1 point into, so this is generally a buff. So yeah, I don't see this thing about the cell division here. If that's in there, I mean, it's undocumented, so it's something we'll have to take a look at. But please let me know, hashtag StratChat in the comments if you know that this has been put in, or it's just missing from the patch notes, or what it is. Please let me know. But as it's written, this is a buff to Zac, which means he's absolutely going to still be strong, because you don't need to put these extra points here. You're putting points into the E and the Q anyways. You don't need this. And this is just making your first level in W better. So there is actually there's nothing to note here unless it's missing.
A few Yorick adjustments are planned for this patch, with E ghoul bonus damage being lowered from 30
This is
to
big for
20%.
lethality damage
armor
users.
And magic resist is going up quite significantly though, from 10 scaling to 50 to 30 scaling to 90. So in theory, lethality Yorick should lose quite a bit of strength due to these changes, while bruiser Yorick should be liking them a bit more. We won't be shifting Yorick anywhere on the tier list for now, as he's going to remain in the A tier.
Yeah, you should drop him down somewhere. It's definitely weaker.
14.5, we've got Urgot as the top lane OP tier champion. With nerfs to Vayne and Twisted Fate for this patch, we've pushed them.
Am I the only one, by the way? Like, S is supposed to be OP, right? This was for singular. Like, you are Super Saiyan level, you had your normal A, B, C, D, and then you had S for I am on a tier by myself. Am I the only one? Like, I feel like this is just the way it should be. Peg all of these down and put Urgot into S tier if that's how you want it to go. But anyways, this is their format. I disagree with it, but yeah, Urgot's still exceptionally strong. The Hullbreaker changes stopped the buggy interaction, but it's still insanely strong, so you can go Hullbreaker into Black Cleaver, and he's just pretty ubiquitously strong against the field. They did talk about a couple changes here with like Olaf, Wukong. Olaf, they're moving up because of other ancillary changes. The big mover needs to be Twisted Fate, and he should probably move further down because they didn't mention it yet, but the changes are massive. Taking a sneak peek as far as outliers, Teemo can drop down. He's very, very weak. Sion is stronger than this. Smolder is stronger than this as well, especially while people aren't really maximizing what the champion is capable of. Cassante very singularly better in elite, well, professional play. Still, right? This is still the champion. They are trying to make it more readable, and maybe we finally get that threshold, but I don't know if it belongs on the bottom row yet.
Down the tier list, and it leaves Urgot on top. Wukong
Very interesting how many tanks are up here
for this patch, as the buffs could honestly turn him into an OP tier champ, but for now we're placing him in S tier and will adjust accordingly if needed for the mid-patch update. The Volibear buffs from last patch have been out for a while now and are proving to provide a lot of strength to the champ, so we're pushing him up further and into S tier for 14.5. Heartsteel users like Tom Kinch and Mundo
Volibear should have already been up there
quite well in recent patches, so with the item buffed, they're going to be great S tier picks. Both champs can even implement Sunfire Aegis into their builds depending on the game, so technically they're double buffed for this patch.
Yep, it is definitely worth noting when you're double buffed, right? When something gets double buffed or the things around you change. So think about what we talked about with Celestial opposition. The supports are going to be a little bit tankier in the fights. Fights are going to last a little bit longer. Solstice Slay, less about playmaking, so you're going to have longer dragged out fights. That's going to favor what type of champions, right? Significant damage over time, and then front to back style fights that want that longer fight are all going to be better. So you're going to see more of these tanks. I don't think something like Tom Kench actually likes this, because you're going to have to wait till later in the game potentially, or a longer fight, which you don't really want as Tom, right? You're sitting in there. Yeah, maybe you can get some extra Heartsteel procs, but the people who are still crushing you with the sustained damage over time are still going to be able to do that.
Builds depending on the game, so technically they're
This is very much for like the masses.
Jarvan has been one of the weaker junglers for Season 14, as he hasn't been able to fit in after the removal of Gore Drinker, so Riot has a few buffs planned for him this time around. Q cooldown is being lowered at the later ranks.
This is massive.
Armor per level is going up from 4.8 to 5.2, and we honestly really don't see these changes being enough to significantly alter Jarvan's solo Q strength, so he's going to remain.
So we have to look, when they're talking about this, is just about the jungle. The fact that in your jungle build, your most spammed spell is getting a cooldown fix, that is huge. That is going to accelerate your clear significantly. The fact that you have more armor growth means that you're coming out healthier and your duels are stronger. But the most important switch to this, the biggest change where it's going to feel the most, is lane Jarvan. All right, if you guys are friends of the channel that you know, we've been playing Senna with Jarvan in the bot lane. It's absolutely fantastic. You put the E out with the Aerie proc for your Senna. The Senna just walks up with permanent shields. You stand next to her, so the Aerie just goes like this, and it just continuously gives her the shield. She gets to use the standard as a pivot, so you can put the standard like out in the middle of the lane, for example, and it gives her something to target off of. It is a fantastic synergy in the bot lane. But really, mid and top lane Jarvan that we haven't seen for a while, used to be very prevalent, are the ones that are getting a huge buff from this.
Only armor per level is going up.
Baus has even played it with like an Eclipse and Spirit Visage Shield Bash type setup that just stays permanently healthy.
For now. Blue Kayn has been drastically outperforming Red Kayn in Season 14, so Red Kayn is going to receive a few buffs. There'll now be a 0.5% bonus health scaling added to Kayn's passive healing. Our healing is also being increased from 65 to 75%.
This will help it catch up, but it's still, Blue Kayn is still the one that is the carry. But you should play rule of everything. Whatever your team needs is what you need to get.
Changes ended up shipping with a ton of bugs, and the
Rek'Sai was so buggy,
underperforming, so Riot has a bunch of changes lined up for 14.5. There's going to be a plethora of bug fixes and quality of life changes added. Emax Fury damage is going up in the early game from 6 to 8.
Even with these bugs, she was at about 50%, and now they've fixed some of them. I expect this to actually be a significant change to the champion. She's still just kind of ugly to play. All right, so people are not going to want to play them unless they have incentive to try to climb and master the champion, and those people are going to reap the rewards first. Rek'Sai is going to be quite strong, but it's still a difficult champion to pick up.
Our base damage gets a nice boost, going up by 50 at all ranks, while the missing health damage is up by 5% at all ranks. Just from these stat buffs alone, Rek'Sai should gain a good chunk of strength back for this patch, and the bug fix changes should help a ton as well. So we're going to be giving her a bump up into the S tier.
Okay, that is relevant from C to S.
Recent patches, so she's being hit with a nerf for 14.5. E damage reduction is
was completely overpowered.
From 42 scaling to 70% to 35 scaling to 55%. Not necessarily a change that's going to remove Bel'Veth from meta, but enough to force her out of the OP tier and down into S.
I'm not sure that that's true.
One of the most OP junglers throughout all of Season 14. So
that's not true. Brand is just worse than Zyra.
Going down, but at the later ranks only. Our cooldown takes a hit as well, being increased by 5 seconds at rank 1, but by 15 seconds at max rank. So more so scaling nerfs to Brand, as his pre-level 11 should really not be affected all that much here. It is the later game teamfights where Brand has a couple items to where he does really thrive, so the nerfs will still hurt him, and we're going to be moving Brand into the jungle.
Okay, this is a wrong to move him down. It's not wrong as to like where he should be, but they're wrong to move him down because his damage to monsters actually went up to compensate. So here's the change right here. It's 5 seconds more and then 15 for later for the scaling. But pre-level 11, this is essentially neutral, very small difference to this, whereas the extra damage in the jungle being an extra 15% on your blaze, that is significant. So the jungle Brand is actually getting stronger. It is still a capped skill champion where you actually need to rehearse your clear and make sure you're getting your timings down. You need to run the cooldown rune. You need to make sure that you're maximizing your cooldown and your attack speed so you can actually weave in the autos at the right pace to make sure that you're keeping Seer and then a Blaze and getting your cooldowns at level 2 where you spend 2 levels, or when you spend 2 camps. Those 2 camps slow bad Brand junglers down by about 20 seconds. So make sure that you are rehearsing that in your clear, and this is going to be a buff. If this was aimed as a nerf, it's in the wrong direction.
A tier. Evelynn is next up on the nerf list
Huge
for
nerf.
jungle, as she's going to be losing some damage off of her Q, with the AP ratio being lowered from 30 to 25%. Definitely not the end of the world for Evelynn.
5% on a spell that you cast 4 times, like absolutely, this is a huge chunk of her damage. It's not going to hit that burst that she's been doing with Lichbane with the E coming in, and you're only going to feel about 5 or 10%, maybe two of the Q casts. But we saw what Ahri's win rate did with 5% on the Q. It shot up by 2.5%. This should be a massive nerf for Evelynn, and it's going to affect her all game and her clearing in the jungle.
Keep that in mind, but overall, we can't see her dropping very much in power, and is going to remain in the jungle S tier.
She's going to drop significantly.
A monster high elo pick in recent patches, so Riot has
overpowered.
Nerfs planned for her. Movement speed is being lowered from 340 to 335.
Huge in pro.
Cougar form bonus damage is being reduced from 40 to 30%. Nothing too major here, and we don't see these nerfs lead.
It's not just all of the Q damage, it's Q on your hunted target.
To a significant shift in Needly's solo Q strength, so she's going to continue to be placed in the jungle A tier. So
in solo queue, if you are not professional, this is still a hard champion to play. She is exceptionally strong, but those two nerfs are very, very difficult. I do not recommend picking up Nidalee.
Looking at the jungle tier list now, with Bel'Veth nerfed and dropping out of OP tier, that leaves Briar as the standalone.
The sustain builds, like bruiser builds, are best here.
There's even this new build going around for Briar right now, where you rush Eclipse, and it's given her
Eclipse is a broken item.
But many players have yet to catch on to this. Our challenger jungler Skillshot actually has a brand new commentary where he showcases this build that's just been uploaded to our website, so go check that out if you haven't. Just like Volibear top lane, Jungle Volley is getting an added push up the tier list for this patch, as he's been excelling really well due to the recent buffs.
Again, they should have had him here. The buffs were insane for him, and he's become a pro staple. He's showing up a lot, although his win rate is still having issues because he's still got Volibear issues, right? The run at you problem is still tough. And in pro, one of the big things, that ultimate, the free tower dive that you got being nerfed is a huge problem, right? You have access to it more often, but the duration not being as good means that it takes away one of the big skill sets that you have for the champion.
We expect for the Wukong buffs to more heavily impact him in the top lane, Jungle Wukong will gain a good amount of strength as well, and is being.
This is specific to the matchups, right? So when you calculate fights like Wukong into Vi, and you're being very precise with who wins this matchup and at what point, this is going to tip that scale, and Wukong should just jump ahead of Vi in this matchup and any other matchup that wants to duel you because of the regen. I don't know that Trundle will be able to, or that Wukong will be able to beat Trundle. I imagine Trundle still wins this, but even then, the fact that you can get your 5 stacks that quickly and you get that much regen means that you have a lot more power against champions like Trundle. So every matchup where Wukong would be looking to skirmish or wouldn't be looking to skirmish are all going to slightly jump in his favor now, or at least move the needle more in their favor.
We'll have to see just how strong the dueling strength of Wukong is now in the early game with these buffs, because it could just open up some invade plays where you look to fight the enemy jungler as much as possible. And you're going to notice that we're going to be adding Zyra to the jungle tier list for this patch, as she's being placed in the B tier.
This is absurd. Like, people, it may be junglers trying to pick up Zyra, and therefore they just don't know how she works. Zyra is completely overpowered. Hopefully you guys have checked out the videos from us. We've played it a couple times on stream. You're easily clearing under 3 minutes, even when the seeds are going wrong and in the worst spots possible. We still got out of the jungle. What was that time when we had a bug that caused blue to just start resetting for about 10 seconds? We still got out of the jungle at 310.
Tier. There have been a ton of changes in the past little while that have significantly increased
this is the OP jungler,
and she's actually in a pretty good spot right now. Our multi-role challenger player Hector has a new commentary for Zyra jungle on our website, so if you want to pick her up, it's a great resource to help you out there. We've had Veigar rated as one of the weakest mid laners throughout the first 4 patches of Season 14, so
you just have to be very patient.
Some buffs.
It's not weak.
Ratio is going to be increased by 5% at all ranks. Our cooldowns being reduced by 20 seconds at.
All right, so the arc cooldown at 20 seconds early is a pretty big deal, meaning that you can use one to push someone out of lane, and then they come back to lane, and it won't just be gone forever, right? You won't have to wait 4 full waves to get it back. But 5% on your Q, just like with other spells like Ahri, where it has 2 parts, or Eve, where it has 4 parts, right? And you're talking about multiple casts. Veigar also has a little bit of an exception, the fact that his AP is significantly higher than everybody else. So in the end game at 4 items, when you have 1,000 AP, this is actually 50 damage, which is fairly significant. And at all courses in the game, 5% on him is a little bit more valuable than on everybody else. This is sort of like a scaling 5 to 20% or 5 to 40% buff over the course of the game if you weight it to other champions, which would be a significant lead. Vhagar is absolutely phenomenal. Make sure that you're buying Cosmic Drive for the extra haste so you can stack up faster, kite away from the bad situations, and then you can get your Rabadon's third.
At rank 1, but stays the same at max rank. Even though 5% AP on Q may not seem like a big deal, we do have to keep in mind that Vhagar does reach higher AP.
You're also casting it every 2 seconds, right? So it's just like this is a very, very big buff.
Impactful than most would think. Don't get us wrong though here. These buffs are nothing major and Vhagar isn't going to become a priority pick, but we see the changes being enough to finally move him out of C and in.
Also, the changes to Lichbane and Storm Surge are interesting because those are other ancillary items that people tended to buy to abuse the high AP ratio. Storm Surge, you're only going to get 10% of that AP bonus into the burst. Lichbane, you get 45, so you're losing 5% of it there, but that is still a relevant item and you should be looking to pick it up second or third, or at least at the very end of the game, get one of those to give yourself the extra scaling. It is the difference between 100 to 0 and 100 to 20 on somebody.
So Riot
it's like casting a whole nother spell.
Power against champions with dashes for this next patch.
Good, give her identity.
Damage going up from 30 scaling to 140 to 40 scaling to 150. AP ratio on Gloom.
This is a lot in the matchups, so this is going to affect every single one of her matchups with dashes, right? Because this is 10 more damage every time that you're proccing Doom and Gloom, and it's got the AP ratio, so that is a significant chunk.
Going to grant a passive refund, so nothing too major here.
This nothing too major to the masses, especially when you talk about the meta being mostly like Karma, Ahri, being the strongest champions on the patch. It doesn't affect them, but it is going to affect all the other matchups where you might pick Vex like Aurelia or Akali.
Counter to melee mids with dashes, but right now the mid lane meta is being dominated by ranged picks like Karma and Ahri. So it's a bit more difficult for Vex to really fit in, and she's going to remain in the A tier for now. So it's a relatively light patch for mid.
She's going to be an A tier in general. That's fine. She's an okay champion, but as a counter pick, she's going to be fantastic.
With just Vhagar and Vex being changed, which means the tier list sees minimal movement.
Aurelian Soul should be up here.
Like right now, for every single role, there's just one outlier who stands above all else, and for mid lane,
cast it in as a counter pick, absolutely.
Karma has an extremely high pick rate and win rate right now, and checks off all our boxes for an OP champion. So she takes home the only OP tier spot. Karma is just so good with Malignance and has a really crazy mid-game spike when she completes Cosmic Drive as her consistent skirmish strength becomes.
These Profane Hydra champions should probably be dropping down.
Becomes absolutely god.
There's a buff or a bug change where they're catching it applying lifesteal inappropriately, and that might have been giving a lot of hidden power to champions like Pyke, Kiana, and Nefiri. I don't even see Pyke here. So I think that people have missed the memo on this. Pyke mid is exceptionally strong as well. Just the stat god in the game right now, after the buffs to the armor and the fact that you can start with significant HP, AD, and armor advantages over your opponent means that you can just stat check and fight them at level 1 with Hail of Blades.
She's so easy to pick up as well, so even if you just want to spam her while she's in her broken state, it's not going to require a ton of time investment to start.
I disagree about her being easy to pick up because she's a decision tree champion.
Especially underplayed for Season 14 has been Kog'Maw, so Riot's given him a few buffs to try and bring some attention back to the pick. Passive movement speed is being increased.
This is wild, the amount of buffs that are coming in. This champion is just going to power through. It was already fine, it just wasn't popular, right? Other champions are more exciting than I turn on my W and I start attacking, and everything else kind of feels slow. But these changes are all 4 abilities getting changed and buffed. That is huge. Or sorry, 3 and the passive.
To 10 scaling to 50%. Q cast time.
That's huge. You can hit people that you can hit.
5 seconds to.
This is massive, especially as you get later in the game. The quarter second really felt clunky, and there are a lot of builds that just go QW, where you just max those 2 abilities. When you're at high enough speed thresholds, casting the Q would actually just slow you down by way too much. But now the fact that it uses your auto attack timer means that you can Q auto immediately.
Now matching
essentially use it as a reset when you're at high attack speeds.
By 10% at all ranks.
1 point wonder on the E.
Ratio is buffed as well, going from 65
Fantastic.
to 75%. Every change on their own is quite small. However, when added together, should result in Kog'Maw gaining at least.
The Q change is already big. Kog'Maw should arrive as the #1 champion.
Level as of
if it can reach Senna too, which is The big thing about Kog'Maw is that it reaches Senna. I see Smolder being used in Pro as an answer to Senna, but Kog'Maw naturally comes by the attack range that you can use to fight against Senna, and with these changes, it should be the premier scaler. The question will be whether or not they prioritize having it with an enchanter that's going to be a little bit weaker pre-11. That'll be to be determined, but Kog'Maw should stand out as the best champion now.
Push up into the ADC S tier. The second ADC who's going to be buffed for
Senna's going to be listed here almost undoubtedly because it gets played, but Senna should still be played as a support with a farming tank.
14.5 is Sivir. Riot has plans to increase Sivir's base armor from 26 to 30. Nothing too crazy here, and for now we're going to be leaving
That is a
Sivir
ton of damage in the early game if you get into a trade pattern.
The ADC role from 14.4 are all seeing nerfs for this patch, and first up is Senna. QAD ratio is being reduced, going from 50 to 40%, and considering Senna's absolutely incredible standing in 14.4, we can't see how this nerf reduces her strength enough to warrant a push down the tier list, so she's going to remain in OP ADC.
I'm fine with that, but I think Kog'Maw is going to outscale her. Smolder's also strong.
Targeted in two separate ways.
Twisted Fate getting wrecked.
Is going down from 10 scaling to 60% to 10 scaling to 50%. EAD ratio is nerfed super.
This is the huge one. 50%. This is off of the bonus AD, by the way, not just the AD. At least as it's written. Let's go double check that. Twisted Fate. So the bonus AD is going from 75 to 20. All right, so it's not as harsh as they're talking about, but basically this is every 5th attack. So you could average this out as 11% per attack of your bonus AD. That's a lot, right? Over the course of the game, you're buying items. Let's say you've got 200 damage in items. That's 22 damage per attack that's being nerfed off of this. That is huge. Huge, 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 huge. What this will do is it will bring it back in line where AD Twisted Fate will finally get knocked down. This was the one that we talked about for the AD build that would put it over the top. The AP build will still be happy to do things like Rod of Ages and Rapid Fire Cannon. And this change should be where they wanted the effects to land, where it didn't feel bad to build Rapid Fire on Twisted Fate, where you just couldn't kill the minions, or you needed to use Dematerializer and spend it on exactly 3 casters so that you could one-shot the wave with your Q, right? They kind of overshot buffing all the abilities, and they just didn't need to do it, and the champion was insanely strong. This should be enough to finally take it down, and we definitely prefer the AP build.
Hard, going from 75 to 25%. These nerfs are definitely way more harsh than.
And to be fair, Twisted Fate was played before the first time they patched it. They're like, people like to play Twisted Fate, so here we're going to throw 200% ratios into the kit. And of course, people like to play Twisted Fate meant it was already okay, and then they added 200% ratios to it. Was completely not okay. So hopefully this brings it back down into line. This is going to be, it's going to align with something like, what are we at now? I think 40, 70, and 20. So 130 is still a lot. It's still going to be fun and it's going to be decent, but now we can confidently say that the mid lane AP build is going to be stronger.
The Senna changes, and we expect for Twisted Fate to lose a considerable amount of power for 14.5, so we're going to be moving him from OP into A tier. Vayne is next
I would
up
bring him
on the
down to
nerf
B
list
though,
for
or
ADC,
based on their
as she's gonna
rankings.
be losing some power on passive and Q. Passive movement speed is being lowered from 45 to 30. Q cooldown is being increased from 4 to 6 seconds at rank 1, but it's going to remain the same when you have the spell fully maxed out.
So this is really important because in a lot of lanes you were actually maxing your silver bolts and you weren't touching tumble until 2nd, and so this would slow you down all the way to level 12. This change, it does mean that people are going to be much more incentivized to put their points into Q early, and it might change those matchups, and you're going to have to be very careful. So every time that you're playing into a tank that you can attack a lot, silver bolts will still be better. If you're playing against a champion where you might need to dodge spells, then the Q is going to be better, and we'll have to adjust all of the matchups based on this. But this is a huge nerf. Vayne top is overrated. We'll just say it's overrated, and this will be a nerf to it in general. It is one of those champions that needs a perfect game script, and if you interrupt it at all, it falls behind and it doesn't do anything. So I do not want to play this in top lane, not ever. And in bot lane, you're still going to have issues where it can't wave clear, and as long as it can't wave clear, it's going to have issues in pro play.
So Q change is a nerf to pre-level 9 Vayne, but from then on, you won't be affected at all. We don't see these changes being as harsh as the nerfs to Twisted Fate, so for Vayne's tier list placement, we're going to be pushing her down from OP and into S. Riot continues to chip away at Smolder as we're getting more changes for the newest champion release.
This is hilarious to me. They think that they're adjusting and nerfing.
6.5% max.
This is a buff from 6% target max target health to a ridiculous scaling for the dragon practice stacks. And we can continue this, and this is all going to be bonus. This is going to be net as a big change, as a big positive change.
With 2% per
also, they made it 1%, not 1.5%
per 100 AP and 1% per 100 stacks. Number of attack is also being changed so that instead of scaling with 5% crit, it'll now scale off 2% dragon practice stacks. Our base damage is going down, however, the sweet spot multiplier is up and the heal is going up as well. As you can see in the background clip here, if you're hitting the sweet spot, damage is going to be up on R for 14.5. So
good. So we want the R to feel better because it felt like a completely wasted spell. We even talked about builds where you could skip putting the second point in the ultimate. Like, you kind of wanted it. It was a little bit more damage, but it was by far your weaker spell compared to your Q and your W. So it was actually correct to get more points in Q and W, and we still think that that's true. Looking at the rest of this, the actual numbers that they posted out. So the 75% AP is not changing. The self heal is now getting a 50% bonus on your bonus AD, which is huge. All right, so this is adding a ratio, but it's taking away from the base. So these tank builds, especially the Riftmaker one, they're pegging away at it again. I wish they weren't doing this. I wish that they would let people play the identity of the champion rather than trying to force it into what they think it's going to be. We'll see that issue with Seraphine later as well. But you can see the number changes here. Flap, this is basically a buff, right? Your dragon practice, dragon practice stacks are going to outnumber your crit ratio, especially since people have realized that you don't need crit for this build. Like, Essence Reaver is fine. It gives you mana, it keeps you sustained, and once you get it, you're just stacking like crazy. And the better option is actually Spear of Shojin into more like a bruiser type build, maybe with Trinity Force, or you could go tank with like Iceborne Gauntlet and kind of slow people down depending on what the roster was on the other side. But these stacks going in the favor of the these patches going in the favor of more stacking is going to make this champion much harsher in late games, and people are already complaining about how much it takes over in the end game. And really, it's losing nothing. So Smolder is just stronger. Smolder is going to be the strongest champion in the game. I'll take a moment to talk about this champion and why we don't mind these changes, right? When they make Smolder better, why it's good for the game, right? This champion, make no mistake about it, we're 14 years into League of Legends. A lot of people who came into this game, who might have been 17 to 25, now are at the age where they're having kids, right? And having kids who may or may not want to do what mom or dad plays for a game. Now you have this champion that A, is a dragon, B, is a fledgling, right? A tiny dragon. C, has a very understandable kit, and D, can feel like you're taking over games without needing to understand all the minutia that's going after. You're just like, I have a miniature goal that I can do. This is the best designed champion that they have ever released for the health of the game. Now, that said, Smolder is quite strong, and they want this design to be good because they want kids to enjoy it, right? Kids, their target audience is going to be there and playing Smolder and enjoying it, and they want to allow Smolder to continue to grow. So if you're competing, use Smolder. They are going to continue target Smolder for growth because it is showing an influence in their target demographic. They're going after more kid players, just like they let Cassante stay strong for over a year, even though everyone knew it was overpowered. We have a target audience. We want people who like this style of champion to join the game and play the game and have someone that they identify with. Smolder is going to be the same thing. They're going to continue letting it be strong. Pick it up, learn it, learn how to kite around, learn how to maximize your Q stacking, because this is A, the strongest champion in the game right now, and B, they are disincentivized from nerfing it. So I highly, highly recommend picking up and mastering Smolder if you want to climb.
All all in all, it's super tough to accurately rate a new champion like this when Riot's changing in every single patch. But we do expect for Smolder to be a good pickup once again for 14.5 and is going to be placed in the ADC A tier. So if we have a glance at the complete ADC,
I kept playing like a caster, not like an ADC.
Amount of movement for 14.5. Now this really doesn't
Kog'Maw should be higher.
Often, but for every single role
Ashe should be higher.
Far, there's
Seraphine should be low. I mean, they're changing her significantly, and these changes are going to be rough. Tristana should be higher, especially for counter matchups. Kalista is higher in pro. It's very interesting that these two champions are here when they're targeted for pro and they're considered to be overpowered in those spots. Ziggs is considerably weaker than he was. I can't imagine putting him here unless your team has a way to fight for the Void Grubs and get a pushing advantage. And everything else makes sense.
One OP tier champ, and that stands true again for ADC.
More or less.
Senna. Senna is just a cut above all else.
These are strong dueling champions as well.
Expect that to change.
These should be higher for pro.
On Kog'Maw for this patch though, as it's not just the direct buff that's going to help him out. Enchanter supports are actually becoming stronger for this patch due to the Dreammaker buffs.
Only in the end game.
Paired up with Soraka, Lulu, or Milio is going to be pretty solid.
No, not Soraka. Soraka is completely backwards, right? Soraka is going to help your bullies bully harder and or solve a bad laning phase, because Soraka has such an impressive laning phase. She doesn't do enough to a Kog'Maw, right? You want to increase attack speed. You want to increase the effects of the attacks and the movement speed of the champion. Soraka doesn't do that enough, right? She's much better on like brawler, battle mage types. They're going to love Soraka the most.
The Seraphine changes in a moment when we cover support, but they'll definitely be impacting her in the carry role as well, and she's being pushed down into the A tier. Riot continues to chip away at Maokai as the nerfs from 14.4 didn't reduce his power in any significant way. For this patch, they're going to be lowering Maokai's.
You guys heard that here first. A lot of people overreacted. Freak said he was targeting a 2% dip, and I was like, you're lucky if you get half, and I think we had ended up with 0.4.
Also increasing his W cooldown by 1 second at all ranks. One other change that only affects jungle Maokai is to his Q monster damage, going from 80 to 120 at rank 1. Now we do have to keep in mind...
Okay, so they also nerfed his speed, right? Let me just double check this. Base movement speed is down by 5. This is significant for roaming ability and for jungle clear speed and for gank angles. Okay, so this is absolutely massive. They're compensating that by giving him some power back here. The person who's going to feel this the least is actually top lane Maokai, who they're targeting to try to make stronger. This right here is the ability to get multiple fights off in multiple W's off within a fight. This is the biggest change, right? Because this is going to affect whether or not you're actually able to close the distance or not. This is the singular massive thing, and especially for a champion that's leaning on Trailblazer, every point of attack speed, of move speed, is going to put you closer to that threshold where maybe you do, maybe you don't catch up to the target that you're going after. It's still going to be a strong champion, right? Like this is the bigger part of the nerf. 1 second on the W, yeah, this will be affected probably in 3 fights during the course of the game. You won't have access to W maybe quite at the moment that you need it, and that could be the difference between winning a fight or losing. That should affect some decent chunk of games. This will affect the most, right? It's just ubiquitous, but also the jungle Maokai, which is still strong, and top lane, which might hop into a camp to clear it, especially if you're being sieged in the top lane and you just want to take the Krugs while you're waiting, right? For example, this will help you take that down, and also jungle Maokai clear speed is going to increase as a net, and that's going to affect some of your river matchups about who can contest for scuttles, and especially in pro play, who can go after second raptors, right? This is huge for killing the raptor camp. Flat 40 at level 1, like this is absolutely insane. It means that they clear this camp so fast, and then when it comes time for the second spawn, where sometimes you're level 4, sometimes you're level 5, usually you're level 4, and you don't have this next point in, but even if you're just here and you're playing with 30 more health, you're going to clear second raptors, you're going to clear third raptors much faster as well. So this champion can still thrive off this camp. You can abuse the red side jungle using the raptors Krugs. You're just going to have to find a way to mitigate this loss in move speed.
Find that Solstice Slay is also being nerfed.
Also, you can go Celestial Opposition and just be a body in the middle of the fight.
Even with the Solstice Slay nerfs in mind, though, these changes don't seem like they're going to be enough to push a 54% win rate champion out of meta. Maybe a 2 or 3% drop in win rate at most, but even then, Maokai's still going to be in the upper percentile. For the time being, we're going to be leaving Maokai in the support OP tier, but if the changes
I think you can move him down to S.
Than we expect, we're going to
again,
give you guys
they're
an
S.
update for the mid-patch
Whatever you're calling your first full tier under the top full tier under overpowered.
Plethora of adjustments in 14.5. Movement speed is up from 325 to 330.
Huge.
Mana growth is going down. However, mana regen growth is being increased. Attack damage is being reduced by a significant amount, going from 55 to 50. Q has a bunch of changes with the mana cost lowered early on, but nerfed later. Missile speed on Q is up and damage is up by 5 at all ranks.
I want to show you, since these are so many changes, it's worth like taking a microscope to them. This is another one of those champions that they're trying to fit a mold. Players want to play Seraphine, and they're talking about players like to play her as a support, and it's kind of like Smolder. A kid is going to want to play Smolder. There's a specific type of player that is going to want the image of Seraphine, and that player may not care, or that player might align more with supports in general, and that's what's causing them to play her more in the support role, right? It's not necessarily that all of the players care about this, or this is what the champion design should lend itself to, and I feel kind of weird that they move a champion in here. But again, if it's going to help more girls to want to play the game, that's a good thing. League of Legends could use more players, especially in the ranked queue. There's a huge disparate stat. I think it was something like 3% of ranked players are female, whereas 30% of norms players are female, and they just don't like the pressure of the ranked game. They don't like how abrasive the players are, or the people getting yelled at, etc. I want to help invite more people to play. This is a good change in general if you're saying that, yeah, this is what people want to identify with. Pink-haired, cute girly, I'm snapping my fingers, hey, saying whatever, like, that is what it is. If that's what people want to identify with and to play it, then great. It does make for very complex changes, though, where, like, this is, I could write a whole report on just this. It's insane how much they're changing this. Huge changes to the CSing, right? The fact that you lose 5 AD is massive for your ability to push waves and for your ability to get last hits. The passive damage is going down. The minion modifier is going down. The Q high note used to prioritize the minion kills, like if anything would kill it but Q was in its path, it would give you the credit. Now it's not going to do that. So there's a lot of changes. They are making it harder to farm on this champion, sort of just bizarrely, right? They really are trying to force it to not be a farming champion. The important things to note, all right, this used to be a must rank spell because of how much it scaled. 3 seconds per level on a champion that needs to be able to cycle through their spells and continue casting them. This was massive. And so you needed to get from 28 down to 16. You had to put 5 points into it. Even as a carry, you didn't care about the extra damage that the E offered because it was nothing compared to the sustainability of the W and the ability to cycle through it. Now they're making it much more like a 1-point wonder. It's only increasing or benefiting 1 second per rank, which is a big difference in value. Also, getting it at 5 ranks is not going to be as strong as it was before. So this is a nerf to the scaling build when you wanted to have access to it more often. It's making it much more of a 1-point wonder for your supports. The shield value is not particularly high. The bonus move speed is also going down, and with its AP ratio. So overall, the first point in this spell is getting stronger, but your scaling is getting significantly weaker, which is a big change for the supports. It also means that, look at this other change, the beat drop is actually getting a cooldown improvement as you rank it up. So you're going to want to rank this up. Also, support Seraphine tends to want 5 points in this because they're rushing the Rylai's Crystal Scepter because of the interaction. The Rylai's will slow, therefore the E beat drop will root, and it gives you just an automatic source of a root. It is kind of bizarre as a support champion. Nothing about Seraphine screams support to me. The fact that nothing works, right? Only the ultimate is a support spell. The W is as well, but it's like a group. AoE burst damage. An E that only roots if other people have rooted. That should be something that a carry has, not a support, right? Someone sets you up and you help it. So you have to buy Rylai's, not the cheapest item in the game either. And then your champion turns on as far as like what its E can do. It feels very, very bizarre to me as a support. I don't like the changes at all. I like what they're designed to do. But also look at this, minion damage down to 70% here. The slow duration is going up per rank, so you have to put 5 points into this spell. And then last but not least, the Encore is losing 20% AP as well, and the duration is going up later in levels. And as a carry, you were likely to hit level 16. This is probably not happening as a support. You're probably living at this 140, which is a really long time. It feels like this is going to be a very bad champion in this phase, especially while people are just going to start figuring out what they can do with all the spells. Everything's changing, so stay away from Seraphine.
W cooldown is being lowered, mana cost is being reduced, shield is going up, and movement speed AP ratio is nerfed. E cooldown is nerfed early but buffed later. Mana cost is being lowered,
Seraphine.
damage is up, and CC
Look, I mean, this is
duration
insane.
up early,
I just don't think they should really change a champion like this.
Are buffed early but nerfed later.
This guy's talking at 2x speed, and they're just throwing up highlights, and it's still not even coming close to like recognizing how much the champion is changing.
Passives where minion damage is reduced from 300 to 100%, while general passive damage is lowered too. This definitely hurts the viability of bot lane Seraphine the most, as you're more reliant on having that wave clear. Last changes are to Seraphine's R, with the cooldown of the spell being increased, but at the later ranks only. RAP ratio takes a hit, going from 60 to 40%. So overall, these changes should be net positive for support Seraphine.
I don't think that's true.
So many of them that it's hard to say exactly how much power she will gain off the back of them. We're going to be leaving Seraphine in the support B tier for now, but if the changes do end up more impactful, we're going to be moving her up further for the mid-patch update. So, we've just got a few changes to the support tier list for 14.5.
And it's completely guts the carry
due to indirect adjustments. The
completely.
Dreammaker changes
You're still, if you want, sometimes you're going to want that role for your team, right? If your team has a diver like Rengar, right? And from the bot lane, all they need to do is scale to empower their hyper carry with, hyper mobile, assassin, fighter, bruiser, whatever. Then Sona Seraphine is still going to be fantastic as a combination, but the Seraphine itself is going to be significantly weaker. Also, a big thing that affected the carry, you used to have one item spike, right? Liandry's was a one item spike because you needed mana, you needed cooldown, and you needed damage, and Liandry's did all of those. You don't have that right now, right? It's not as good to play Luden's Companion on this champion, especially with how good some of the tanks are going to be. You're going to need that burn over time, and you don't have access to it. Also, Lichbane, which wasn't being bought nearly enough, is also getting nerfed, so that's going to be a big drop. So Seraphine, there's just going to be better options here, and it's too bad. I think it's a fun champion in carry. I guess they don't want that to be the case, but as you have seen, if you guys are friends of the channel, you know that we're of the opinion that you're better off having your support farm and your carry to buy Bloodsong right now. It's just the state of the game. Jhin, Senna, these champions, Ashe, that can play a support-ish role, kind of, are just so much better with the support items. They're that broken, and then your tanks get to farm, which makes them that much stronger. And overall, that makes the bot lane a hugely volatile place, and you should be playing around your bot lane. You need to focus around bot lane because of how strong the supports are, and getting an advantage in the bot lane means that you have an advantage everywhere because of how strong supports are. And if you're doing this rotation where you're getting farmers buying support items, then they can be stronger, especially with how cheap those items are. After they buy 2 items, boom, they can swap. They can even buy their own World Atlas, and then you have 2 on the team, and then you've got 6 wards for Baron. So I do think that there's room for this to be completely broken still. I don't see it nearly enough, even in the upper echelons of even professional play, although we see plenty of double World Atlas being bought. It did go away last patch when they accidentally completely turned it off, which I don't think they intended. They took that change away, and we still haven't seen it. So it might just be because some of the pro leagues are still on the patch behind, and we haven't gotten a chance to watch it live, but if you are playing and you have a duo, there is absolutely a way to make double World Atlas work for you.
Bring some nice strength back to picks like Soraka and Milio, and both champions have...
This is an inaccurate assessment of what's going on. Dreammaker is nerfed. It is a weaker item than it was. Only post level 11. 11 is when you're going to feel stronger here. So a lot of games, you don't get to level 11 on support. So this is a net loss to those champions. Not only that, but the champions that could get in your face before with Celestial opposition now can get even more in your face, and they're going to exacerbate that time frame, level 6 through 10, where they would be stronger anyways. So I think this is the wrong take on which direction to move your enchanters in general.
Have been on the verge of pushing into the S tier in previous patches, so we're giving them the bump up. Blitz is the support who's been running Celestial opposition the most.
Tom Kent should be in the OP tier only to play with Senna.
So with the upgraded buff for this patch, he should be in a really
Blitzcrank
nice
should
spot.
be in a really
We're
good
giving him
spot.
A push into the OP tier, joining Maokai. Other than moving Soraka and Milio up, we're not going to jump the gun and make any drastic changes due to the support item upgrade buffs and nerfs, because it's hard to say exactly.
I'm curious why they thought these were the two to go up when you have all these other enchanters that might go Dreammaker. You also have Zazex, right, which is a significant source of damage for a lot of these champions, especially Poke when you're going into something like Zyra. But it's fascinating that they only chose to move these two up. They thought that maybe these were the closest. Maybe they had them here, and they're saying, okay, we can bump them up a little. But certainly you wouldn't put them at the top of the S tier.
Exactly how.
Also, there's no mention into Pyke. Pyke is going to... Pyke is the stat check god. He should be stat checking everyone at all ranks at all points. And if you're not doing it, then you're not using the champion to its fullest. So I'd love to see clips. If you guys have them, make sure you're sharing them. Pyke dominating in the bot lane. I know Coach Israel has been using it
for this patch, while melee engage supports are nerfed, but this has been the trajectory over the past few patches now, and despite that, melee supports have still remained on.
So this is left over from Worlds, right? Last year, Freak kind of dropped a bomb on us in July that it says we're going to target a 70% engager support meta because that is what the metrics say that people want to watch at the World Championship. And it was so flabbergasted that they just publicly said that. I couldn't believe it. It was like, all right, that's the sort of thing that you keep under the covers. Maybe you're moving it in a way, but it's clear that they move things for play, for viewership, and they're just tweaking. So the pendulum's going to be swinging now. You're going to get away from the engage supports, and you're going to start moving into the enchanter supports, which means that you're going to see love now for Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw and all of his friends got stronger. Lulu just got a buff last time around. You might see Lulu pop up in the mid lane because they gave her back her Q ratios for clearing waves. They doubled her pass-through damage. So there's a lot of signs pointing towards a Lulu Kog'Maw meta where you might have something like Lulu in mid lane, then you have Kog'Maw in bot lane with one of these other champions that can solve whatever problems you're trying to address, like Renata. And I expect that to be part of the meta in pro play. So that was the video. Hopefully you guys like this new format. They did such a good job with the video. I don't mind giving them a huge shout out for this because it was fantastic. Like, the dynamics of this video is not something that I can recreate, right? This is well done, and I want to give them a shout out. So if you guys like their content, they have an absolutely fantastic take. One of the videos that they did recently also, the top 10 macro mistakes people are making in season 14, and it just goes through, they basically listed 20 mistakes, but it was a phenomenal crash course in things that players do, and it showed you the mistake and it showed you the correction, and that is a fantastic learning tool. So I'll make sure to put that in the description as well. All right, so coming up next, we have the Void Grubs. We have to talk about the Void Grubs and why it is correct to only take one. We don't need that. We don't need this. All right, so we're going to go in. We're just going to be your average Bel'Veth player. We're going to go like this to test this up. Void Grubs, there are 5 benefits that we need to abuse and reasons why you might only want to take the first grub. For one, there's no alert that someone's taking the grub camp until the second grub. Once you take 2, there's a global screech that lets people know that you're there. So, as a jungler, you want to be hidden for much of the game. It makes a lot of sense that you want to be that you don't want people to know. Secondly, your jungle item is going to benefit. Right, so this jungle item is going to be stacking. It's going to be gaining the extra gold. It gives you the extra resources when you take the first monster in a camp down. And in this game, when there's 3 void grubs are spawning, killing the first one will give you all of those benefits. All right, so let's go. And we're just going to go to level 5, which is something that is possible at this stage in the game, and something like Kraken Slayer, just a very easy, or Noon Quiver. So Noon Quiver is up. We're just going to fast forward and go forward a little bit. Thirdly, you're controlling the respawn timer. All right. The first one, I'll show you this as it comes up. Fourth, when you take 1, you are making it impossible for the enemy team to take 6. When you take 1 out of both camps, that makes it impossible for them to take 5. Each stack that you get is relatively worth less. It is not diminishing returns. It is flat gains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the damage over time that you're dealing to the turrets and the stacks that you're dealing. But at 5 is when you spawn an extra ally to help you hit. And if there's 5 people hitting a turret, that is 5 extra void grublings that are coming in to help you siege the structures. And those have significant stats. If you got 6, then everyone's spawning 2. If you ram the Rift Herald into the turret with your whole team around and you're pushing push, that is a significant amount of damage. If you can just go in and as a game plan say, I'm going to take 1 Void Grub twice, then suddenly it erases the value of the camp for your opponents. Whether or not you then cycle back to get it, that'll be up to you, your prerogative. But as long as you take 1 from both sides, you're going to be in a really good spot. Now, the other thing that we're going to look at is when you do kill the Void Grubs, there is a shield. I'm going to show you exactly how the shield works here by splitting the damage up. It's going to be a shield that procs based on missing health. All right, so I go here. See that shield? It's going to give a bigger shield to the one that gets less health. Now, the shield is something that I just want to walk away from. All right, we're just going to let the aggro on the camp reset. No notice comes in, but I got my camp. You see I got full benefits from the gold, and now the shield's gone. So when you're taking a camp like this, you see how quickly I can take 1? It's very, very easy. There we go. Done. You can take another one. You can walk away. You can do them one at a time. You don't want to take too many trips in here, especially since it costs you the prio from the mid laner. But you can see that having this done means that we're going to control what's happening on the map and what we're going to get out of it. Now, the second part of this is we started killing at 5 minutes. So let's go look at the camp right now. All right, we're just right here. The Void Grub spawn timer is on, I believe, a 4-minute spawn. So we're going to go here until we're at 9. When did we kill the first one? This may be less of a benefit than I thought if it doesn't actually change like this. It's supposed to, or at least as written, is supposed to spawn the first one. I should have actually killed this one at like 7 minutes after. This is significantly later. What is the respawn on the camp? This might not actually work, apparently. Okay, let's double check it. Bring our trusty LOL wiki, which unfortunately is not actually hosted by Riot Games itself. Void Grub camp. Respawn. Find respawn. 4-minute group timer. Group respawns once if killed before 9:45. Huh. Initial 5 and then 4 group timer. Group respawns once if killed before 9:45. So it's not even going to look to respawn now because the last one we killed later. Okay, this would actually be a strike against it then. Let's do a reset game to make sure that this is the case. do not want to put points in your queue. Even though the queue scales apparently better than everything else, it is much weaker in practicality, right? It just doesn't do anything. Toggle minions. Why is it not stopping them? I don't know.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I need these things dead. Why are they not dead? He's just going with the wave that he had, apparently. I don't know. I don't even know what's going on. Alright, so now I'm going to do this, and we're going to try to stagger the kills.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Hopefully the Nathos doesn't just end the game here. Alright, 505 on this one. 509 on this one, and now we're gonna wait. So let's see, we had 505, we'll call it 510 and 520. Maybe I just have to go kill this guy. Yeah, this is fair, I know. And the reason that the points in the queue don't really do that much is because even though you're getting the stacks up faster, the fact is over the course of the fight you just can't really use them. That's why it's important to, if you're going to use it, put 2 points in it and then start maxing your E, but you absolutely want to have your E up sooner rather than later. All right, we're going to keep doing this. So we said 505 we killed it, 510 and 520. So we're going to go to 10 minutes and see where this is spawning. No, sorry. 4. Okay. Shoot. Of course, 4-minute spawn. But they did all come at the same time. It wasn't one then the other. The whole group spawned at the time that this one... at the time that the camp died or the time the first one died? I guess we have to reset again. This time, not worried about... What's his face? Let's take it quickly here, I guess. Can we spawn void grubs? Spawn jungle camps and grubbies. Alright, let's see if they come back in 4 minutes. Alright, so we killed this. Gonna wait. We killed it at 30. Just gonna wait and kill this one later, and then we're gonna go to 4:30, not 5:30. Alright. So go to 4:30 and get these spawns up.
Minions have spawned.
Alright, so we killed the first ones at 30 seconds, and then the next one's at the minute. Let's see when they respawn. We're just watching this. If they respawn at 4:30, then that means that the first one killed affected the respawn timer. If it doesn't spawn until 5 minutes, then it's being based on the last one dying. In which case, you would still get a notification based on the timer of the screech in-game. So they're not spawning yet. That means that the whole camp had to die. So this is another thing that you can use to your advantage. It can be to your disadvantage as well. But if you take one, let them take 2, and then you've got the screech timer, that'll tell you exactly when the respawn is happening. And you can also delay it from even happening, right? If you clear sometime after 9:45, or if it doesn't come back till not after 9:45, then there's no opportunity for them to do anything, right? Like, you take the one small grubby and then you match the jungler and fight them everywhere, then there won't be a second spawn, right? Like, you don't finish the camp until after 9:45, there won't be a second spawn of them, and you don't need to worry about it. right? And so the value on the second and third are just so much lower than the rest. All right, good. We got that. All right, it's about time to get in some games then. A reminder what we're working on in game. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. So your SMART goals right now, yesterday's big challenge was we're dying too much in the lane phase on Rakan. We need to take 0. We put our goal at 0 aggressive actions without knowledge of what would occur. So that meant that I am not even pressing forward at a moment where a jungler might be nearby. Now we're going to adjust that slightly. It's going to be slightly less measurable because, or the specificity is going to be a little bit tougher because now I want to do it based on inferred information about where people should be. But that did get us in trouble once yesterday because we made a play thinking that Nunu would go back to his Krugs, and instead he made it all the way across from top side to bot side for a gank at a moment where we thought we could take an aggressive action, and we got 2-0'd, right? And actually the jungler tried to join in the fight, so we ended up getting 3-0'd. So obviously that situation is abysmal, and since Rakan is going to do so well in those endgame team fights anyways, we just want to avoid any chance of these bad situations coming up, and especially just wait for our support item to tick up and to be strong enough. So that was our SMART goal as a team, is that we would go ahead and make 0 aggressive actions on Rakan. And really what it's doing for ourselves is it's giving us a way to measure our personal improvement, and it gives us the desire to want to improve. Not just let me play until I get better, let me work on something. And by focusing on one thing, you hone in on that skill and then you own it. When you make a critical insight, when you're trying to improve something and say, I want this to be slightly better, you might make a critical personal insight about how you play and how you can think about what interaction leads to the winning and losing. And again, we define the win and the loss, whether or not we achieve our SMART goal, not whether or not we won or lost the game, or even won or lost the lane. Did we do our goal? When you set these goals, like dying less in lane, it helps sustain your motivation, right? You don't need to come just from winning and losing, but small things like, all right, in these matchups, what's getting me into trouble? All right, well, how can I be a little bit better? And you can move it from, you know, here in lane phase to here in macro, versus how do you balance your work day life League of Legends schedule, right? How many games you're playing. So for example, I want to balance out my day a little bit more and make sure that I spend more time walking the dog or playing with the kids or whatever it is. Then that can be your SMART goal. And those things keep you interested in the game, and they help to avoid burnout. We have, there's a friend of the channel that struggles with burnout, and we'll give him a chance to work with this. It's vital. It really does make a difference for your ability to sustain your attention and your motivation. And people who are motivated not only grow and grow faster than other players, they tend to do it in a healthier way that avoids burnout, because their motivators are intrinsic and they're about growth and the process and the adventure of problem solving, as opposed to just like, which rank am I getting to, and I'm frustrating because I keep playing against this champion. You know, it's things that may not be in your control versus things that you definitely can control. So let's get into it. Had a little bit of a warm up there. Is that enough? Let me do a little bit more. On Rakan, excuse me. Just gonna do a couple combos and get our fingers in the right presses, because last night we played mostly top laners and mid laners. We want to get ourselves back into support brain. Also, I'm probably just going to move Solstice Slay off of the item set and move it just gone, because I think Celestial Opposition is just always going to be better. And we're going to aim for this. All right. Doran's items are still not here, which I still want to fix. Okay, so you know what we want to do? Let's just do that right now. Let's fix the item set. Also, apparently, they finally fixed rewards for people that were over level 1000, like me. And I had been pretty frustrated with them. It's like, I'm getting the same message that I'm moving up and moving up and moving up in honor, and yet you just keep on saying, okay, welcome to rank 1 of tier 2 honor. I think 7 times in a row. It's like, okay, yeah, that should, you know, we just add it, carry the 1, we should be at 4.1 at least. And on top of that, the time that we got deranked for nothing, it's really frustrating, right? And it apparently has something to do with the level of the account, which is, you know, kind of asinine, but small indie game company, you know. All right, let's go items. Item sets. This is something that everyone should be using. Do I just remove the sleigh? I don't think so. I think the sleigh we can keep here, but we're going to move Doran's onto here because it's something that we do occasionally for those really tough lanes that they can force fights. This is the best stat compound that you can get. I haven't tested with Dark Seal and Refillable, which I might actually enjoy a lot as well. So I think I should just put the Dark Seal here, because if you do win that fight and you get the 2 extra stacks and then your shield gets stronger, you might just be able to completely snowball the lane. And the fact that they use their potions whereas you don't could be the difference between absolutely just annihilating one of these lanes that you normally couldn't. All right, so we've got those in. Recommended spots we don't need for those. And the items themselves, let me just double check the items. Celestial Opposition will be number 1. Frozen Heart will go down. Heartsteel shouldn't be an issue. Sunfire we don't need to worry about. Yeah, okay, we'll be okay with this. Save. Demolish? No way. Whatever. Not ever. First, you got to win the fight. And if you win the fight, the demolish will come easy, especially when you're coming in the end game. Don't need this. Let's go with... the things you have to do to practice this champion. Alright, so let's go with... mid-game.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Not the most common build, but something to look at. All right, let's see. Pop, 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 and pop. Oh, more. Okay. All right. Can we R Shrelias? Yes, we can. Can we Shrelia R? Yes. Something we've been meaning to practice. The Shrelia's range is actually quite large. Love it. See if I can get to the edge without looking. Okay. There we go. Yep, that hits. All right, so if it's on, if the base of the model's there, all right, so we're going in. It's about 2/3 of the way to the top of the screen. When we're centered, it is near the top of the screen. Okay. So we're going over here. What if we just go into range? It's not going to buff those guys. Okay. All right. Let's check it out. It's not how I want to be comboing those spells. Nope. Why did it not E? Speed everyone up. We get the bundle. Most times I'm going to want to round people up, so I kind of want to have Shrelias go off at the same moment that I cast my E, right? So I go here, Shrelias, and then I bundle everyone up, and then we'll stun them all. Let's go with E into E, and then we'll reach the targets over here. I didn't mean to press W. B. This can be tough. This is probably near the edge of what my muscles are comfortable doing. It's the Shrelias. Missed the flash. What's up, Turbo? How you doing? And Kawaii, how you doing? SOS? I can help. I've lost 7 straight games. That's okay. You'll get them back. Now you ready? Again, the outcome of the game, not necessarily something that you can control, but that's actually very specifically relevant for what we're working on, right? Check your games. Give yourself an analysis. Try to figure out what you want to fix. So you get the diagnosis. This is what's wrong. And then your prognosis, I can get better if I do X, Y, or Z. And then you give yourself a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goal. So for example, yesterday it was, we are dying too much in the lane phase. And that could even be once. But dying was just a indicator of a symptom. The symptom was that I was taking too many aggressive actions without perfect knowledge. So yesterday we honed it in and said, we're going to look at my aggressive actions. How many times do I know? Have I seen the jungler? Did I see, where was their last known path? Are they definitely not here? And we got bitten by one inference. We tried to assume that a Nunu wouldn't be there, and instead Nunu was in our face. So I highly recommend watching yesterday's video where we play 3 quick games. You can even just accelerate past the first couple and get into the one where then we try hard, saying, all right, now let's put it into a ranked game. When you give yourself this specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goal, for the next 3 games, I'm going to play Rakan and take 0 aggressive actions without perfect knowledge of what the result will be, and that it will be winning. That means I don't take trades in the 2v2 against the Karma Nila. It means I don't step forward when jungler is missing. I don't step forward. I don't try to take this ward while mid laner could be on the next bush, right? All of those things. So you work on it in a normals game where you do not care about the result, and you say, I'm just going to work on it. Then, after you've done it there, then you put it into the ranked game, and then you assess yourself, and you say, all right, how did this actually work? Did I actually accomplish what I'm trying to do? And you do a best of 3. Best of 3 not being whether or not you win or lost the game. Did you win or lose the objective? And as long as you win the objective, then you'll be able to grow. I need to play smarter in the mid game. There were too many times where I was out of position as AD carry. Okay, so that can be something. So it's very specific. Give yourself a specific way to measure, right? So if I'm training AD carry, what I'm really thinking about is, here is the area of the fight. Here is my tank. Here is my support. This is the action. You are going to want to measure how many times do you move from outside. I don't know how to change this. How many times do you move outside of this window where you are protected by a tank and supported by your support, right? When you got threatened, when enemy team came this way, did you panic and run away? And if you did, then maybe you moved too far away from the fight and suddenly you're not doing it. So your specific goal could be like, I want to stay as close to 500 units behind my tank for the team fight as much as possible. And if the threat comes this way, then you answer by moving this way. And that way you can still threaten the fight, and you can look to move radially around the fight by constantly just keeping the threat and the tank at opposite positions. Can't see my screen. Oh no. Oh my god. It's because I have the practice mode on. That's of course. Okay, so that will give me a chance to improve my drawing. Okay. So you're playing AD carry, all right? The fight is happening in this area. And this is like the range of influence. This might be boxed by the terrain, whatever it is. You as the AD carry are going to be here. You don't want to be in the area of threat. You don't want to take all of the damage. Your most important ally is going to be your tank. Your tank is going to be in a position right here. They're in the fight, and you're trying to stay on this outer extremity where they provide shelter for you, and you can threaten while they can't threaten. Now, you will also probably have an ally right here. This will be your support. They're trying to stay relevant to the fight, but again, they're trying to stay safe while buffing you. The most common mistake people will make when you have this threat on their team is running at you. Most mistakes people will make is to run away. You don't want to run away. You want to keep your tank between the threat and them. So you actually want to reposition yourself here, right? And when you go forward, they're running at you. You still want to be able to influence the fight, but you let the tank stay in between you and them. Now, in middle and low ELOs and even up into skilled, tanks are still not very good at seeing the shape of the fight. Most people just tend to go in different directions, right? That's how fights go in platinum, all the way up to emerald and low diamond games. Once you start getting above like diamond 2, people should start shaping the fights a little bit better. Hopefully that makes sense, right? So now when you're talking about giving yourself a SMART goal, all right, which is what we did yesterday, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. You want to say, for my next 3 games, or best of my next 3 games, I want to stand within 500 units of my tank at all times and move away from threats radially. All right, so you're saying for my next 3 games, that's time bound. You're being very specific. It is measurable. You can actually see how many times in the fights that you actually stray. And is it because the fight blew up, or is it because, you know, there might be mitigating factors, but at least you can say, did I stay close to my tank to maximize our threat as a tandem? Is it achievable? It's definitely achievable. You just have to choose to stay near the tank. And then, is it relevant? Yes, it's extremely relevant, because your uptime in the fight is directly related to your ability to see threats and to keep threats away, right? And you can do that by moving in tandem with your tank. So this would be an example of a SMART goal for an AD carry who's trying to improve in the mid to late game. It's improve your positioning and really come to something very specific. Hopefully you guys can see that all now. Coach Israel's in the chat, by the way. You guys can listen to him. He's got plenty of great answers for this. This is actually his product. He made this, so he will be able to go into the specifics. I forgot, but there is a challenger AD carry player on YouTube who made a whole Excel spreadsheet to track yourself. It even has averaging formulas in it, comparing the good to the bad. I'd be fascinated, Kawhi Caramel on Twitch, if you can provide that. I would love to see it. I think this would be a good tool to use. Completely forgot about it until that PowerPoint. Yeah, if you can find it. Let me see. Am I safe to open this? Okay, this is unranked to challenger. Results, they tracked everything that they did. They tracked all their games. Okay. Yeah, something like this is great, where you review your games and you're trying to show what are you working on, right? And that you can see that this guy kept a theme that is true, and it looks like he did it for like 10 games at a time. No, it looks like it's different play bases. Still winning a lot. This is where you're starting to get a couple more losses. Scaling mindset, high CS. So this makes sense. It looks like they gave themselves SMART goals and try to get into the flow of things, and this progresses. So something like this is a fantastic tool. You can mirror this and get 95% of what we're teaching into your games. The other part might be something that you don't know, as far as where should I position. That might be something new. Didn't have a proper tank in 5 of the 6 AD carry games, but yeah, it all makes sense. I forget where the blank one is, but somewhere. This spreadsheet is sweet, and you should be able to create a copy, and then you could just blank everything yourself, right? And you don't really need this one. You can just say, what did I do, right? In this game, he's measuring kills, deaths, assists. This is the important column right here, KDA, CS per minute, APM too, right? He's measuring all of his actions over the course of the game. This would largely influence your priming, right? How engaged were you from the game? How much did you care? And it looks like they set themselves a goal of trying to be up in the 230, 240 area, and they don't like it when they're down below 200. This is pretty low APM or pretty high APM for me. I don't think I ever get into this. the amount of time that you spend dead is definitely going to influence your APMs, and you're going to see these games where they have 0 deaths, the APMs are going to be much higher, right? And that's something you can't really track for. You could adjust your APMs and just like subtract 10 or add 10 per death, right? And just say when I'm dead, or especially late game deaths matter a lot more because you're going to be dead for potentially 40 seconds. But this is a fantastic resource to use and a way that you can track, and it's very similar to what we do. I don't use an APM tracker. No, actually, should I? That could be a great tool for knowing when I'm actually tired, because there are days where I know that I'm just not myself, maybe didn't get enough rest. I know the days that I spent, up scrolling through YouTube shorts and staying up past midnight as opposed to just falling asleep at 10, for example. I feel incredible the next day if I go to bed at 10. So I don't have that for myself, but Israel, if you have an APM tracker, I would love to have it in the chat, and we'll put it up. I guess we could just do a search and you guys tell me which one you like. Do I want an AD carry? Oh, hold on. Is this the one you guys were talking about? Desktop APM tracks your APM in all PC games and applications. However, you may only want it when you're playing your favorite game. You've never used one? Yeah. You know what I'll do real quick? We'll go back to this maybe. Did I move it? I must have moved it. Mass accuracy. Okay. We'll go normal, medium target size, and try to enable our APM. This doesn't look like it's... No, is it the one? All right. There's another one that had like a 50, 49, 48 where you had to click things as they're dropping. This one's more about targeting things as they're moving, which is a little bit less relevant. I'd like to get the other one. I don't have it. Okay, we'll do it like this. So this game is going to be 30 seconds. Primed in, trying to use the edge of my vision to try to find these. Please forgive me. Probably going to be significantly worse. This is actually really good for me, I think. I missed one. That was very good for me. I'm curious what you guys would get. This is mouseaccuracy.com. Since it's so random, I don't like it as much as the other one. I wish I could find it. And on support, yeah, a bit less necessary. But AD carries for sure. The one that I like better, let me see if I can get it. APM tracker. Not APM tracker. APM test. What is your APM? And why did this pop off of my list? It's on here. No. Oh, okay. Was it just here? So APM test, this is going to be, when I'm ready, we're going to go 59 tests. The reason I like this one a little bit more is because you can start looking around at the shape of what's going on and start anticipating a little bit. And this is more like what it's like to play an AD carry. So the game is going 50, 49, 48, etc. And I'm going to be picking on these as these go. So I want to prime myself. Deep breath, ready. I'm kind of nervous, which is good. I want to perform well, so I'm actually expecting I'm going to do well here. John Doe? No, we'll go Giga Gaming. I don't know if that's fourth. That was very quick for me. So these were like meaningful APMs. That was about the peak of what I think I can do. I don't think I generally get up this high. I'm normally around 200, and that's with targeted, right? It's not adding button presses and everything else, but just the speeds of the clicks. I dono walled him? Wait, what? Do I want an AD carry? Yeah, let's do it, and we can both work on something. We'll put into norms since we both got something that we're working on. Unless you want to do, unless you're feeling good for ranked. But normally, since you're working on a new skill, we'll do it in norms. I've never used one. I'm just curious. I think APM on support is a bit less necessary unless you're into gathering for the team via F keys or pressing tab. Yep, that matters. Champ movement depends on the champ you're playing too. But what was it? You said Donowall? Did I miss a notification? I'm so sorry if that happened. And if that's the case, then I absolutely need to make sure that we're fixing that. I see something. Let me see. You know what? I need to get good at using this, right? So we're starting this. We need to find this right here. Is this what we're talking about? This happened just now, right? Oh, I just missed it. Kawaii, thank you very much. Oh, there it is. Cheers. The content is giving me the motive to get back to Emerald. Hey, man, that's sweet. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I need to fix my, you know what it is? It's because I'll show you what I have open. This is Restream. So Restream goes and it's putting all the broadcasts out to Twitch, YouTube, etc. I don't hear the notification on Restream, whereas if I had the Twitch open, it would ding. So maybe I should get into this, especially since most people are chatting on here, or maybe just have them both open. So you know what? Thank you for the inspiration. I'm going to do that right now. If I can figure out how to format this. My screen should be able to split into two. There it is. Now we just need to make sure that the chat is visible, which I don't do. Here we go. All right, I should be able to have it open. What's up, guys? I appreciate everyone hanging out. Yeah, let's do this. Let's give yourself a goal. Where are you, Turbo? Kawaii, that means a lot to me, actually. For real, the motivation is one of the big things that we talk about, and it's actually, you know, the lesson this week is what we're doing with setting goals, how to avoid burnout in general by doing the best of threes, caring about small things and wanting to enjoy the process of getting better. It allows us, it opens doors for us to shine without the pressure of people thinking about our mistakes or even gating ourselves based on what our rank is going to be. Pushing to Emerald, that'll just happen, right? As you push to get better, right? You just keep on pushing for small things that are measurable that you can say, I can challenge myself to be a little better at this and then make that happen. All right, I'm going to jump in the Discord. Everyone's welcome to join. We're in the lab since we're labbing it up right now. I'll let Turbo come in and we can chat. Also, one of the things that's affecting me a little bit. So my screen, I don't know if I can give you guys a little setup from here. Maybe I have to move my camera. All right, so let's check this out. I don't know if I can, no, you know what? I can't even get my camera around from where it was. So I have, if I can visualize, my monitor right in front of my face. But to do that, because it's a 31-inch monitor, it means that my second monitor, which is like an old TV thing, is kind of like off to the side right here. And I can't see the edge. Sometimes that's why every once in a while you see me here. That's literally just to aim for the minimize, maximize, and X bars on that monitor. Because generally I don't need to care about what's on the edge, but sometimes it does come up. You guys are helping me to become a better streamer as well. Let me make sure I can get the chat visible on Twitch as well. How do I do this? Not theater mode. I wish I could show it to you, right? Because I basically have half the screen for the Twitch, but I don't even have chat up right now. So you guys could tell me where is this? It's not full screen. It's here. Boom. Got it. No, it disappeared when I went to half screen again. But you know, it should work all right. It should work all right where I can see the chat in the restream and I can see the pop-ups from Twitch. But I'll try to get these notifications to make sure that they're nice and loud. All right, Turbo, you coming?
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. There you go. What's up, guys?
Hello.
How you doing today?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. You know, that made my day that you guys are having a good time here.
Yeah. It's great.
I appreciate that.
It's great. After a day like yesterday.
What? Yesterday with the, what was it, 7 straight losses?
It was bad. It was bad. I'm not even going to lie.
You know what? That means you've got some room to stomp now.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So this game you want a smart goal to work on?
Yeah, I mean, I need one.
Okay.
And for me, mostly yesterday, it was just mid-game. And I know it's variable, as Israel was saying. I think I found myself maybe a little too cocky in lane. And just thinking, like, having played with good supports, just thinking my support knew what was going to happen and do the right thing. They just didn't, in terms of just, like, trading in lane and CSing. And then I got to mid-game, and most of my team comps didn't have tanks in them. Like, looking back at some of the games that I played and lost, it was just, like, it was a team comp gap, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
In places where I thought, even if I played the best I could, we had no chance of winning based off of team composition. I'd like to think that if I played the best I can, I can win any game, but especially in AD carry, but it just didn't feel that way.
It can be very tough, especially if you have something like a Senna support that wants to, like, if you have 4 champions on your team that all want to play back and kite, and their team has people that run at you, everyone on your team's going to be thinking very selfishly about their own positioning, and everyone starts moving and scattering, and the throng just gets on you, right?
Yeah.
That line of defense can be very difficult to mitigate.
One example was I had a game where I was playing Twitch, and I had a Kha'Zix jungle that had 25 kills, and we lose because I have a TF top and a Lux mid and a Pyke support, and the other team has Sion, Galio, Milio, Senna, and Kane. Like, it was just a team comp gap.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, and that can be difficult if you have someone that's that big. There's almost definitely a way to spread that team apart, especially like with the globals. But that's difficult to portray. And you're in platinum, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I was in plat 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
Plat 1, and now I'm plat 4. So.
Yeah, it's whatever. Those come and go. The ranks come and go. Is there a carry that you want, or a support that you want me to play?
No, I think Rakan's good. I think Rakan's busted, honestly. I mean,
It's so much fun. He's busted because he's fun. That's the thing. Cool.
It's just so easy to trade and get out. Okay, so. Dude, why do you want me to swap with you? You see jungle.
It's okay. You see it. You Kaisa. You've got a good idea.
Yeah.
You can play whatever.
I don't know what I want to play here. I want to play something that can build surf and swing. I mean, I want to play Twitch, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, play Twitch.
And is he gonna swap with me?
I don't think you can anymore.
Cause
So already we can kind of look at the shape of our fights. And you can see that we have Azir that might scoop people into us or might peel people away. And you can aim your positioning based on that. I tend to overreach a little bit on my ultimate, so I'll try to play a little bit more like a wall for you, especially since I'm going to go tankier. We've got plenty of damage on this team, so...
I'm thinking here, like, Twitch or is, like, Caitlyn better in terms of lane? I mean, it's anti-Kai'Sa, but if Kai'Sa gets on me, if she gets on me as Twitch, I feel like I have more damage, but...
Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn would dominate the lane. Twitch would be more damage in the mid game.
I'm working on mid game, so let's do it. And let's go.
All right, so we've got Azir, Rakan, and Gragas, all who have ways to shape the team fight. So this will be a really good chance for you to practice this idea of just positioning yourself. If nothing else, you don't need to worry about the tank necessarily, but I want you to work on kiting radially, right? You know what I mean by that?
I'm looking at your screen though. So
okay.
If you're drawing it out.
So a radius is a distance away from the center, from the circle. When you're an AD carry, if the fight's happening in this area, then you want to continue to be threatening to this area, and you never want to leave your threat range, right, where you can hit them. So rather than kiting backwards, your goal today is to kite radially. So move along the outskirts of this circle as opposed to just backwards.
Got it.
Okay, so even if Cassante is charging at you, instead of moving outside of the fight, right, if this is the Cassante coming at you, instead we're just going to move away from him, but also staying on this perimeter.
Got it.
Yo.
Yo. What's up, Thrifty Stray? How you doing? Got
I
everybody
feel like
coming.
I usually start Q here and just like straight up walk into here with my support and win a trade. But I'm curious what your thoughts are.
It's generally risky, and the higher you get, you're gonna get more people that are more aware of what the bushes can do, and where they're going. So right now, I think we're probably just better off fanning out. But if we had a 5-man team, then 100% you want to invade at all times, because it's just an opportunity to make proactive plays. If your team is significantly worse, then you may not do it, especially if they have something like Zyra, Shaco. You would probably never invade those because they are so good at setting up around themselves. Yeah. I'm going to go pick up Sweeping Lens and go get some XP.
You guys want to stream your screen on here, or
I could stream on here as well, but I'm live on Twitch if you wanna join that. Is the delay bad?
It's just my connection's pretty bad, unfortunately. So Twitch doesn't work super well. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do a screen share as well.
The font in game, or am I crazy?
Yeah, no, they did. Everyone's crying about it.
Oh, you're right. Look at that.
Ugly.
You can tap the wave for this guy, or the red buff.
Yeah.
So they want to harass us with their spells anyways, so we don't need to aim for too much more. So I'll share with you like what my smart goal is I want to take no aggressive actions without knowing that we're going to win, right? So that means we don't know where the jungler is. These guys apparently didn't leash, so we don't, well, obviously it's Ivern, so they don't need to, but we don't know that Ivern's not in our back pocket right now, so I'm not looking to do anything drastic with them.
Yeah.
And basically for the whole main lane phase, that'll be my goal. So by proxy, it's kind of your goal as well. But then in the late game, I'll block that. By the late game, we can focus on positioning, and I'll make sure that I'm a wall for you. We've got a really good lane state for ourselves. This is perfect because Master Yi's pathing towards the top lane.
I'm gonna get W second.
The cannon will be all you.
Yep. Oh,
awkward that is swapped there. I'll tap these. I won't tap that.
No. one.
Good job.
Okay, down one. Should be 2 after these, after 2 minions, or 3 after 2 minions.
Yep. Start this. There we go, just short trading.
Maybe now.
Yep, we've got heal and they don't, so it'll be that will benefit us in general. Do you want me to block those, or do you want me to
I think I can. No, I think it's okay. The W.
Okay. That's it for me. I have my E's, you can continue. We don't know where Ivern is though.
Okay.
There he is. I'll block. It's up, it's up. He's ganking top lane, so we're totally fine right now. If nothing happens, I can actually just take a reset here. Could hang out. This Vel'Koz is out of mana, so they're not really a threat anymore, and my shield comes up in just a moment.
Yeah. That top.
Here he is.
Oh, he's back. Focusing.
We're trying to dive. Hello.
It's not gonna work.
Yeah, they are gonna get wrecked here. Nice job done. Well done, you.
Going.
Yeah, go for it.
Back.
Alright, yeah,
Here.
sorry. My cooldowns are up. He's coming in as well. If you go invis, I can pivot off you.
I have invis in 5. Invis in 5.
Okay, we're good.
And she can't see me anymore. I'm gonna ghost for this actually.
Yep.
I don't have heal by the way.
Okay, I'm safely getting out. Nice call. Fantastic shot call for you. Let's shove this
I'm
out.
gonna leave. Oh, shape. Okay, okay.
We can shove it out. Master Yi's helping us with it too. Fortunately, those here. Good. No. Recall,
yeah.
recall. I'm just gonna ping recall so he knows that we're not here, but we also don't want to like give it up. We can't. We would lose way too much if we stuck around with him.
Yep. Is it recurve here or is it longsword dagger? I never know.
Yo, you need your support item.
What do you think, Israel?
That's what I'm looking for.
Do
Yep.
I go
I
full
could tell you were
recurve
lost for a second.
or both of these?
No, get your boots. Boots
I
too.
already got him. Already got him.
Yeah. Oh, you can get recurve and boots. Then yeah, get both.
Okay.
Okay.
I just didn't.
Oh my
I
God.
don't ever know if I want to get dagger and longsword, or if it matters and just go like straight recurve.
Recurve is a nice spike.
Recurve does more damage.
Yeah.
Because the on hit. Plus you have a bunch of attack speed already.
I saw someone doing like Kog'Maw build where he just built like 6 recurve bows, and it like did more damage than building items.
That's fascinating. It's not supposed to work because it is a named passive, but apparently it does work. Like Sting is only supposed to apply to one element. Sorry, messed up your groove there.
You're good.
All right, that was a really good job of playing back when we weren't sure whether or not Ivern would be there, and then it happened that Ivern was there, and of course it makes sense.
Still. Yeah, it was a good call. Yeah, I still have flash by the way.
Okay.
No
Just
flash Kai'Sa. I don't think Vel'Koz has flash. It's worth looking.
I'm going to go into here with Sweeping Lens, and we have an okay spot here. Nice. All right, that's a Q down. I'm gonna go for 2-man. This is just a bait. I'm short trading. We're good. It's a pure win for us.
You have cannon or no?
Sorry, I was watching top. You got it. It's not any better for supports to take cannon anymore. So there's no. I'll try to help with the other ones whenever I can.
Okay.
All right, his spells are low right now. Just another short trade. We have to be careful about this push up. Do you have a ward? Let's crash this up. Once we crash it, we'll move into the river. Sorry, I should have shielded you.
damage.
Alright, we don't know where Ivern is. We can probably infer that he's topside. We're probably okay to take something more aggressive. Vel'Koz is pretty low in mana. You're on 6, and I have no flash, but I can step up on them.
How does that hit?
I'm gonna try to take over this bush. I'm gonna go on them. Got them. I don't. Still good. I can eat you. Alright, no, we're good. That went against script for me. I don't know that Ivern's not here. That's my fault. I actually overestimated my ability to catch up to Kaisa. I didn't have the boots ready. It was a very big miss for me. This is coming into us. We can wait for Yi. He's on the wrong side of the map for us, so we kind of just have to play very passively.
I have a back here too, but
Yeah, if we back, it's really risky. I'll just put all my resources into you.
oh my god.
It's okay. This one you got. We're doing good. It looks like they may try to back here. Alright, we shove this in. Good job. Alright, we're doing great. You're doing a very good job. You prepped for this mid game?
Yeah. Trying. Alright, let's see. Imp.
I'm gonna take a moment to hover the E for a bit. This lane is just going to neutralize for us. We got that push in, so now it's coming back. It's rebounding, so there's really nothing they can do to stop you from just collecting it for free. Ivern's also up on top side, so there's no threat of you getting dove.
We get grubs, we got one. Cause
We got a kill on the Annie. And yeah, I'll still get a kill here on the Ivern because Master Yi just crushes him. There's nothing you can really do about him. Can help the Azir push. You are very right to just stay safe right now. I think we take Dragon here. You good picking up that wave?
yep.
Definitely avoid spells over getting a CS because it's too important to stay healthy. You have vision of me here. And you're good, right? Like, this pressure of me being here means that they're gonna have to step back. We're out. That I was trying to bail the E out. It looked like he was stepping up, and it was a really weird spot. We didn't have enough action to really take that.
We got Dragon. I was like, oh, should be fine, but I didn't see the Vel'Koz ult coming in.
Yeah, like we didn't have good vision, we didn't have bot prio, so it was a risky dragon that they punished us for. We got a dragon for it, so it's not the end of the world, but it's not. We mitigate our losses. You being alive 100% of the time is perfect for us. Careful of that bush. I would say that was probably not worth warding because it's just too it's too scary, you know. Like if it's bad, it's really bad. You can tap the wave. I'll give you solo plate. Rock here. Go back to you. I think you love having a support.
Isn't it great? Alright, I'm gonna back you.
Yep, you're good. This is a perfect roam timer for me. I left you a couple wards that should protect you also, so you're actually just really good to be here while I go to the void grubs. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Alright.
I sell Doran's Blade here for item.
No, don't sell. it's worth too much right now.
They both bought. Ivern's top.
I'm looking. Gonna help these guys.
That's a good show.
So this matchup, beautiful, and we're here for the Annie, which means that she gets don't exhaust yet. Give the kill to the Yi, and we're super happy. Collect the 50 gold from Tibbers. We're crushing it, dude.
Just trying to clear these way.
Yep. Nope, and it's fine, right? Just keeping the wave killed as much as possible is the more important thing than actually getting the CS. If you can avoid the poke, obviously it's tough, but like with Vel'Koz, that's really, really difficult.
Yeah. Okay, Kaisa ulted.
Okay.
I don't think she used any spells.
Oh, Azir's in really early. He does not have his ultimate either. This is just a kind of mistake. He's way ahead of me.
Flash. Should not need to flash there, but yeah, she's not even that strong. I'm pretty sure I beat her, but it's just I got poked down to half.
Yeah. You have Bork now, so now we're feeling really strong about the fight. She also went man immune, so we are exceptionally strong in these all-ins. If they initiate anything, I'm happy to take it. At this point, I think we even beat through Ivern, because Ivern's 0-3.
That's Ivern, probably.
Rampage.
He's absolutely huge.
Yeah, he's fed.
Good, nice dodge forward. I just walked forward. I was watching you. I was pretending I was you. I'm like, I can click forward here. Alright, we take this. 100%. Go on, Kaisa. Beautiful. Nice job. Now he's totally gonna dive these guys.
An ally has been slain.
Alright, he's charging up his passive. You can push to get the wave in. If you can. Or you call it off. Ivern's here. This guy has Zazek Stork Shoes and whatchamacallit as well.
Oh, Tibbers, chill.
Azir's looking for something. Azir's got the Ivern. Or he doesn't take it. Yeah. He's got all. He could have gone in there. Alright, this is a little bit tough now with Vel'Koz being as big. If you want to go invis, we can set up a play where I dash of you when you're invisible. 30 seconds away from my ult. No rush.
Okay. I have ult in 2 as well. Just kiting, Ivern.
It's okay. It's enough to get the kill. Good job. Yeah, so you should be able to take this down too.
Nice.
We're missing Annie. This is a very nice Abyssal Mass game. Might... Does the pass-through damage on Twitch's ultimate work on hit effects, like Wit's End? I imagine it does, since Blade of the Rune King is prominent everywhere.
Yeah, it's on the build path, I think.
Yeah, it's probably a great Wit's End game, because they've got so many... They've got Annie, Ivern, which already makes it good enough. So if you were wondering...
I think I was gonna go Runan's Wit's End.
Okay, perfect.
It's AP Kaisa, by the way, too. I don't know if you saw it. You pressed tab.
Yeah, they are full on this.
It's a Wit's End angle.
Alright, I'm gonna ask Azir to go side lane. Azir, you can side now.
Mid.
Yeah, keep going mid.
Killable.
Don't worry that Azir's here, because having extra bodies here is actually good for us, and they're also on here already.
I was thinking Wits End Serpent Fang if it gets that long.
Okay.
Maybe I'll kill this enemy.
Azir is going to the right lane. Yay! Alright, careful on your right side. We're much more comfortable on the left than on the right. Actually, I'm going to help this guy attack since Rift Herald. I actually just found this out. Skill cap video helped me out with this. I did not know that they changed the Rift Herald to take 50% mitigated damage from the last person to, or the person it attacks. Did you know that was in the game?
No.
Apparently it was.
Interesting. You will have bought here.
Okay.
Has been destroyed.
They just
Follow you. Remember, we're going to position around our guys. Alright, I'll come back to you.
Has destroyed a turret.
Come to me. No, I can't. You got it. He's flashing for this. That's funny. Alright. I'll just give you a buff.
Oh, I want the kill. Let me auto you.
Executed.
That's okay. It's running to a play bot lane is generally not something that we need to do.
Yeah.
There's no
I
rush.
knew. I figured right when he started backing.
Bolt wasn't in range there though.
Dude, I just ate Annie's stun and everything she had. It wasn't her ultimate, but I took 0 damage. Celestial Opposition is here and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, I would generally, like, especially after putting wards down where I put them down, and this is sort of relevant for you as a positioning challenge for yourself. Shield and mist. Okay. Actually, I have an ultimate here. Azir could be looking, but we probably just kill Tibbers first, and then we all in. I don't know if we can ever get past this. Alright, we want to do it. Azir, you want to go? I'll just wait for him. If he does it, I'm ready to back him up, but otherwise we can just wait and take down this Cassante. So yeah, like, being your role as you transition to the end of the game, is always going to be to play relative to where your team is strong. Help this guy out on the left. They're low on cooldowns. I don't think it's going to matter. Sorry, that's me distracting you. Your role is always going to be gated towards where is my team strong and positioning yourself behind where your team is strong, right? So if I'm aiming for vision here and here, then can you picture where you're safe to go as a carry?
I mean, I can go basically anywhere between that.
Right, but between that and behind that, yeah, exactly, right. So if I'm going here and here, then that makes it safe to move in this direction because we know everyone that could possibly be in our face there. Going down through the Dark River, even if we have some amount of information, we don't know what their teleport wards are. We don't know, which globals we might actually be facing off and things like this. Easier to scoop this guy. I like the attempt. Vel'Koz is long enough range to give us problems. That's actually, with that passive down, we might be able to go take Baron pressure. Annie's out of the
going on this?
Sorry. Yep, you're right. My bad. I missed it.
You're good.
That was so crazy of her. I dig it. Alright, so those 2 wards that are in front of you and on your left, those tell you like where the safe areas are, and you just can kind of pivot around those spots. Alright, we can do this. Don't go right. Come here.
I was gonna buy.
Do you have a full item? Here, just do this with us and then we'll come back. Just because we're so much stronger here than they are. They've got 2 people dead. Azir has teleport. And now we can all shop as a team. I do not want this guy to risk anything for this. No, don't do it. Please don't. This is a common mistake a lot of carries make, right? He's walking through fog, so it's exactly the conversation we were just talking about.
Yep.
And we just don't own that area, right? And no matter how badly we might want to take a dragon, it's like we got the better prize. We have Baron, we can push. All right, you and I are going to take the northern quadrant.
Yep.
We have no business going for this right side right now. Just hover left. Just keep doing this. We can push this wave up. We're going to exit stage left in a second.
Any behind?
Yeah, go left,
Flash
go left.
going up.
She's exhausted for that. Got blocked. That just might have even been too aggressive posturing from me.
Here.
Oh yeah, we're out.
Oh,
An enemy has been slain.
They don't have a speed boost. That might have just been too much in general. But he's alive.
kill both of these. We can kill Vel'Koz and Kai'Sa.
Say it again.
When I have ult, I could kill. If I have ult right now, I could kill them both.
Okay. I've got 20 seconds on my ult. You can probably get into a pretty good spot. I don't think they got any deep wards on us, so they won't know.
I'm just gonna stay up here, Thompson.
Yeah, I mean, so see these two wards that I have? It gives us complete control of everything behind us, right? And it allows us to move into the northern quadrant. It lets us do a lot of take aggressive plays. Hold on, let's go in. Yeah, he's going to town.
It's just.
And he's trying to charge up her stun. Drew the aggro. Oh, that's not getting me out of flash range, but at least we kept E alive. Oh, unfortunately, he came back into aggro just in time. It's just Ivern. You're good. There you go. Nice play.
Take an inhib 25 minutes. Nice. Out here.
Gragas is good right here. If you're feeling strong, you can go to the right. And again, so this will be your goal. Stay behind him, right? So start positioning yourself right now. Yeah, there you go. And now anything that gets to you needs to go through him. Now Vel'Koz is kind of an exception. Most of his spells are going to go through anyways. But at least that way a Kai'Sa W is hitting Gragas and not you. Make sense?
Right.
And that's like a big deal, especially AP Kai'Sa where she might be trying to pop onto the backline and assassinate. She's looking to do that. All right, now you have to be careful because all 5 of them are up. But again, while we see 2 on the top lane, you could continue to position yourself this way. Careful, careful. All right, yeah,
That
we
might
gotta
be
go.
good. Oh, that's so lucky.
It's okay. It happens. When you're working on when we go and reflect on it, we'll look and say, okay, like I had an option of continuing to move behind Gragas or move into the corridor over there. And it,
Baited by Gragas.
Yeah,
that's
just-
my excuse.
say it again.
That's my excuse. Baited by Gragas.
No, well, don't be baited by him, but move with him, right? Like, he's moving straight down the lane, and you moved left. That's the only reason that they're able to consolidate that kill. And it's fine. It's completely fine to make mistakes while you're adding something, especially I'm talking. This is a non-zero amount of distraction, right? And it's a fairly significant amount. I'm going to try to ping this guy off. There's going to be some amount of mistakes made, and that's okay. That's good. They're all learning spots.
Is this a Terminus? I feel like I don't need Lord Doms. I don't think I need Last Whisper.
This guy's in. We're pushing. This is an awkward spot. We definitely want this quadrant. Alright, I will try to play more for Peel for you this game since they're very high damage in general, and especially Kai'Sa might jump onto the back line. But we'll just look to position based on where I am.
Zero just got absolutely one top.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill both of those.
Alright, this is a good spot for your ult. Ready? There you go. Steal safely. Reposition around the E. Move laterally. Yeah.
Oh, they all healed again?
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it's Moonstone Renewal. But this bought extra time. So that one movement going backwards is a chance to move radially. And you can maybe deal a little bit more uptime. But just be careful here. Annie's on your side.
Oh, don't tell me he Cassantes me. Yeah.
Oh, you got a Kai'Sa ult. Alright, we push for this. We let them get dragon. We push into this quadrant and we'll be good. I also forgot
Do you
to turn
think?
on
Do you
Elixir.
think I need? I mean, it might be. I think it's Terminus actually.
I dig it. Terminus gives you nice defensive stats to go along with your fighting ability. Terminus is just incredibly strong right now. The fact that they doubled the speed at increasing. Alright, 3 people died means we can actually go and contest this. And I know Master Yi wants to,
We
so
have Dragon. Yeah. We have
normally after what just happened, this would normally be a pass on Dragon, go get Baron, but
it's Soul, right? Does that?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's still Soul later, you know? Like it's the important thing is that for them it's second Dragon. For us, it's a leverage point for getting the Baron if we want it. And right now with 2 inhibitors down, the only thing that can lose us the game is losing a fight. So for example, he's looking for a fight right now, and it's a Norm's game, you know, power to him if we don't need winning to be. What?
This is ranked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Alright, shit, it's ranked. Alright, we'll try hard. I'll shut up. I thought it was Norms. I signed up for Norms.
No, I'm pretty sure it's ranked.
Okay, here, let's pop over here.
Just
We
do
can do it.
this.
Yeah, just do it. We have both the pushing lanes. The supers are in lane. Mid is going to rebound. We're going to want to repush this one again. Because it just leashed it for us. I'm ready to zone. I'm going to get into a zoning position right now. We're good. We're good. We push mid. We win. GG. Was this really ranked?
I'm almost positive it was. Like,
Hey, you know?
I'm dead serious. I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, it could be.
It's all right. It's a W.
Be wrong.
So how did you do? So now, well, I guess we'll finish tight. We'll talk about it after. It is ranked. Wait, is Yi in the comms
He
as
was
well?
watching. I think he was.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, props. I meant to do it because in normals because we were working on something, right? Like I didn't want the pressure of it. So I applaud you for holding it together. I'm gonna give you stayed cool because here I was blabbing my mouth off. Yeah, that was ranked.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. So, can I do a little 5-minute review with you?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to pull it up. It's on my screen. I'll pull it up here.
I'll watch. Do you want me to just watch the Discord stream? So you
The
can see
Discord
it?
stream probably easier just because my camera won't be in the way at all, and
You
we
see
can
it
go
in
over
real
it.
time.
So, what was your SMART goal?
I mean, I guess the more specific thing was just dying less in mid game and mid game positioning. I think was big for me.
Yep.
Like where I
And-
position during team fights and knowing where I should before the game starts, based on our team, based on our champs.
Okay. Yeah. So even putting yourself in the mindset of thinking of positioning, when we set SMART goals, they want to hit the acronym, right? They want to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So for this game and for the next 3 games, you can continue doing this. I would advise to do it in Norm's games. I apologize for doing it in a ranked one. But the specific goal was to position yourself behind your tank or the person who can create the most space for you, and to move in a radial pattern around fights, meaning like circle the fight rather than move away from it. And That's achievable, right? You can change your pattern to do that. It's relevant because it's going to increase your uptime without decreasing it based on this. Now, it's a little bit of a weird game because we have a Master Yi that kind of blows up fights on his own.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's look at some of the fights and see what kind of shape we take from your point of view. Do you have a initial guess how you did at your goal?
I mean, based on scoreline, I think I did well because like my last 6 games, I think the reason why I died so much in mid game, I had like 9 deaths, you know, so,
Mhm.
and they were all mid game deaths, and positioning errors. So seeing 7-3, I mean, I can remember all 3 deaths that I had. Um, so I think I did a way better job at achieving the goal. Did I achieve it? Yes or no? In this game, I think I did. I think there's things I could have done better outside of my goal, but
Okay. Well,
I think I did a better
let's take a peek. All right.
I may not have. So
This right here, me dashing to Master Yi, was almost definitely a mistake, and it gave Kaisa a chance to kill you. So I applaud you for staying alive here. This was really smart. Now, this move right here, when you look at your clicks and how they're affecting a fight, whenever you move back directly away from them, when they change direction, you're already going to be a little bit further from the range that you want to be in the fight, right? So this would be a minus when looking at the smart goal itself. Largely, this is my fault, like I said, because I jumped ahead to the Yi. But your best movement is going to be like this, moving towards the fight where your Master Yi, who has the most health, is. That way you're still in range, as opposed to this case where Kaisa turns away. You had already gone this way, and now, look, there's 900 range between you instead of the 600 that you had before.
yeah, I think that was just a cope from the first click. Like if you go back like 4 seconds, my click was like towards her,
Yeah.
or I went invis, and then like, I clicked towards her, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't click towards her, and I like clicked back really fast, so that she wouldn't go on me, and that's when I pressed Q.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's not bad in the full macro sense of things, because you're so low, right? You're on 320 health, and she has the ability to kill from 320, and so moving away and not taking any damage, but for the sake of in a fight where we're deciding where, what could we do for movements, this instinct of making your first click back, we want to already be looking to skirt this fight.
Got it. Yeah, clicking up makes a lot of sense.
Let's see if we can find the deaths.
This was the dive.
Okay.
I just got poked down, and I just gotta dodge. I think you're right. Like that made a lot of sense to me. That dodging spells is more important than CS because I'm getting the XP anyway.
Right. And the 21 gold that you're getting for this, and especially the ones that are harder, the casters, because they're so close to the enemy lines. This right here, except the experience, the 42 gold, not a big deal. Getting the experience, not even that big of a deal. Staying alive is a huge deal because that means that you'll catch the next wave, right? And so even in these spots, I wouldn't rush to take anything like this, especially since when the fight does come, right? Based on our positioning, our smart goal, we're going to use this as our tank. You're going to want to position opposite the tank from them so that any amount of threat they do to you will go. And if they start moving this way, then you move this way. If they start coming down this way, then you come up like that, right? And you want to have a tool like your W available to make their movement a little bit more predictable.
So one question I have here, if you pause, is like,
Yeah.
I know exactly what's gonna happen, right? Like you're roaming, I'm there alone. If they don't dive me or get a bunch of plates, they basically lose this trade. So they need to dive me to get something. My thoughts here, I don't want to blow sums. And so like, what do I do to not blow sums? I dodge spells, but if I don't feel confident in dodging the spells, because I haven't been, I was about to just ult this wave. And I want to know your thoughts on ulting the wave.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
I didn't do it, but I thought about ulting the wave in the moment, and I didn't know if it was the right play or not. I figured it was because I avoided death, but
Yeah, it's not as good as that misfortune situation we saw the other day, where ulting it, you can do it much safer as misfortune relative to Twitch. Twitch, you have to input more commands. You have to like constantly be moving and clicking. But above everything, it's going to be dodging everything, right? This right here, this right into the range of Vel'Koz is already risking it, especially with the double buffs that they have. They're looking kind of tanky. They also have that big wave that we mentioned last time when we did it. And right, this step right here, this almost definitely gets you. I mean, it will get you hit by this Q always, right? So you're not awful right now, but this is burn damage coming through. Now that was a full proc from Vel'Koz, so now this is a big chunk. You might even be fine to just press QB here.
Yeah.
Right, QB and just get your recall in and let them take the next wave, because now they're going to push this one for free. Vel'Koz not only was hitting you with some of the spells, but also they're getting this wave down. And now this is a little bit different than before. They're a little bit healthier relative to you. It's going to be that much harder. I don't actually mind the W use because it's going to help these die one shot faster and it helps preserve plates. But again, not something that you want to like stretch over. And any amount of stepping up right here is going to get you into trouble. And then once they hit a certain threshold on you, now they're feeling really confident, right? Below 50% HP, they can just double out you. I don't know if this is the one that they take or if they go one more. Yeah, they go right there. But that's enough. Make sense?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find another one.
I think it was better to, like in the cat wave without the cannon. I could ult at that one easier as well. Then again, I feel like a year ago I would have flashed there for no reason.
Yeah, especially those two champions. If you can flash one important skill that is the lockdown that makes the dive easy, then it can be wildly effective. But don't be afraid to just give it up too, right? Like,
yeah.
It's not the end of the world to just walk away, come back to this bush, and just let them take a plate, because we're getting more than a plate up here. So losing a wave and a plate, not the end of the world. Sometimes there's going to be situations where Twitch, especially if your ultimate's up, you're totally fine to come roam for a fight as well. All right, this one you remember, right?
Yeah, and I think on that point, like I need to do a better job of understanding the state of the game, where like my E is super fed, and we have top tier 1, mid tier 1 already, and I can just give up a wave and it's not that big of a deal. Like in my head, I think I need to have this wave, and I need to have this XP for my individual game, but I need to look past that.
Yeah, they're investing 2 people versus 1, and you could argue that might mean that I actually overstayed here, but I do think that I swung this 2v2 to guarantee it. They might have already
100%.
won, but this ensured that it became a 2-for-0 and eventually a 3-for-0 now, because Andy steps up as well, and that doesn't happen without Rakan. So with the big win that we got, it would be totally okay for you to just step back, especially after you get chunked. But number one, right, your positioning here, this is ideal. Prioritizing health above CS, and then in the ultimate, when that pushes you all the way back, if they have a healthy wave, don't be afraid to step back. All right, let's look at the other one, because I know you'll remember this one.
Yeah, this one was just pure indecision on my part. You can like see I'm just like back here.
Yeah, so this was one where I believe this was me talking to you. I will take the full blame for this, where it was relevant to their respawn timers and where the positions were. So right here, let's go back a
So
little bit.
after we took turret, I'm pretty sure I had gold for Wit's End. So I was like, oh, we can just take turret, we can take inhib later. And I was gonna back, and then I was kind of like kite behind Gragas, stay behind Gragas, so I clicked back in, see if we could get inhib, and then I got caught.
Yeah, in this moment right here, if you're going for like true min-max, what can I do? This turret's already dead. You can start walking over here and just take this turret with the wave that's coming in with Gragas. Right. So we could have gotten both of these down because of the respawn timers. There's only 2 people coming up. It's Kai'Sa, Vel'Koz. So this is the moment that I start talking about it. By the time I'm done saying it, it's almost already too late, right? And that's the tough part with, and that's why I don't do live coaching in ranked games. so that's why.
All good.
Yeah. By the time that this message is done, it's already changed, right? So like you're here, this is where it sets in. You're thinking recall, but now I've said go, right? So now we're kind of like 5 seconds late, and the rule is always 5 seconds. Macro is a matter of seconds. And if you're 5 seconds late, then it's too late. Here, it's totally fine that we continue to do this. And what I'm talking about is repositioning Gragas. The play's done now, though. Right? We got the turret. You helped. This was fantastic. Staying any longer than this, now we're dealing with an Annie respawn. And while the two of you are still okay against these two, because Gragas is a super fed level 16 top laner, with flash up nonetheless, so he has the tools up to one-shot the Kai'Sa with you. This positioning is fantastic. You're good, and if Gragas were to take an aggressive motion, you'd be fine to pivot off of him, but again, this is now 2v3. Our team is already top lane. There's just not that much to get here, right? So this plays basically off. Here, Gragas...
So right here, I want it back.
Yeah.
Right here, I want it back.
And it was right. And Gragas stepping forward, he might just be harassing and pushing the wave. We don't necessarily need to think that he's doing anything but zoning for us. Here's where the derivation comes from. All right, this next wave comes up. You can even ping recall and want to leave, but again, I'm talking, so it's interrupting the flow. I definitely wouldn't put spells on cooldown. Do you remember what the mistake is now?
Coming up when I died. Yeah, I stepped up with Gragas. Here, I want to recall. You can see I started my recall.
Mm-hmm. But do you remember?
And,
go ahead.
Yeah, and then I stepped up here to get inhib, get smacked by W. I'm pretty sure I get Kai'Sa ulted. And Ivern rooted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just all this damage that we're taking. And at this point, remember that we said that being here would be okay? They would not be threatening to you if you were standing behind the Gragas. But now that you are actually the preeminent target, now you are just
isolated.
Yep. Right, and it's isolated here, right? It wouldn't be a problem if you were behind Gragas.
Right.
So overall, I think you did very well with it. I think you responded well to the communication, especially being under the stress of a ranked game. I think you did fantastic with it.
Thank you.
Master, you did well, but you can see right where some of those clicks are. The instinct is to like move off by yourself because you're not alone, right? Let's say you're in a position right here, okay? You know that they're hitting Gragas, and you see that Gragas moves down here. The instinct is, oh, like this is a dangerous area because they're chasing Gragas. Here's empty space. Let me move towards empty space. And ideally, what you actually want to see is the position right behind Gragas is the safest spot in the world.
Yep.
Right? And it's okay. It's comfortable being uncomfortable. There's more things happening. There's more stuff on your screen, but at least you're in a right position relative to where the threats are coming. The moment that if you draw a line of scrimmage from them to Gragas, right? You draw a perpendicular line, you are just barely out of their reach, if they're reaching Gragas. The moment that you cross in front of his line of scrimmage, right there, boom. Now you are in threats range, and specifically here, it even gets you hit by a Q.
Yeah.
And it's all most likely because your camera is probably something like this, and you're like, where do I click? I'm running out of room to click. I don't know if that's true or not, but the easy way to do that is to put your mouse on the bottom of your screen and hold spacebar. And if you do, then your clicks will just automatically move you down. Spacebar will center it on you, and like not being afraid to put B off camera is okay. If that makes sense. Some people press Y to lock screen, but spacebar will just put it in lock, and then all of your down clicks. What is very easy to happen is, hey, like I'm looking at everything that's happening here. I position myself with not much camera room down, and it's like, oh, I know there's an escape here and an escape here. Ivern's over here, so let me move away. When in reality, this is the safer spot.
Got it. Yeah, I can't play lock screen. I can't do it.
No, it's you don't want it to be locked, but in tense moments, and specifically when you're dodging spells, you'll see pro players a lot. They will just tap spacebar. They'll just have lock screen ready for themselves because it's faster to use your thumb for a key that was otherwise not doing anything than it is to move your mouse to move your camera and then move it back. Right.
Mine's on A. A is my center, like center on champion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a small button too, so that might be a little bit tough. Did you rebind spacebar for anything?
Yeah, spacebar is my I think it's my attack move.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one because you use it a ton, especially on 80 carry.
Yeah, it's usually like click back spacebar when I'm kiting.
Okay.
Click back spacebar, and it's been just easier for me. But yeah, I mean, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, this was great. So this is what I invite you to do, to now put it into your own game, and again, go into normals. Like I can't iterate enough. I apologize for putting you into ranked for that. Go into a normals game where you do not need to care about the result at all. And then you just work on that one thing and you say, all right, I can feel myself getting better at this. And then you within the frame of a best of 3, saying 3 games, I want to either win this twice or lose this twice and go back to the drawing board. Do I win it twice? Okay, now I can move it into my ranked games. And that way it alleviates the stress. You will be much more, you will have much more permanent ownership of the skill, to the point where it won't be a detractor in your competitive environment.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, man.
Makes complete sense.
Do you want to do it again?
Go another ranked?
No, I'm gonna go norms though. Yes, but no. You're like, I really just don't want to not play ranked.
No, let me think. I think I'll take a. I think I'm gonna take a break.
Yeah, breaks are good. Breaks are good. All right, it was a pleasure, man.
Hey, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into my ranked game then.
Go for it. Let me get out of your lobby.
Oh, that works.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, no,
Good
thank
stuff,
you.
man.
Hey, how you doing?
Good work. That was a good game.
That was fun. I feel so bad that I didn't rank though. That must have been so stressful.
I mean, yeah. Norms are so troll these days. I'm like,
It's true.
maybe even honestly, I think flex is a decent training ground, unless you actually play flex.
That's true. Yeah,
Like,
it's
with that group of people, but
and
people
ranked.
take flex a little bit more seriously than
Ye-
normals.
Yeah, I do see a lot of people that try out new champions, or it's like where they want to try hard and practice something in flex.
Mhm. It's like it's a good training ground.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could easily use that, because that a lot of people will also go into norms and say like, I don't care at all, and then they don't even engage.
Right, and they play like weird champions.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
No, I feel it too.
It ends up not being like good practice, you know?
And it could be done in ranked games if you didn't care about climbing at all, right? Like that would be optimal if you just didn't care and all you cared was the journey about getting better and accepting the losses. But I would feel really badly in a game where if I'm live coaching, it's very hard to
Yeah,
assimilate the information while still trying to win.
right. It's also hard. Yeah, like you both have to be on board for that, you know?
Yeah.
It seemed like he was, but.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that would feel bad, you know?
Are you working now, or do you want to play?
I'm working right now, so I'm just watching.
Yeah. No, I
It's a
appreciate,
pretty chill day.
yeah, I appreciate you hanging out in chat and answering some of those questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I will say, Israel, I appreciate the in-game itemization help. That's all.
Yeah, one other, I was gonna chime in, but I figured maybe not. But Permanus is not that good that game. I think Maw is just better because they're 4 AP and it's burst AP. The likelihood of you actually getting enough autos to actually stack Permanus is pretty low because you will kill them before you stack it, unless you're hitting Cassante. But that was
That's a good point.
kind of rare. Yeah.
That's a good point, because I was literally thinking Terminus only because of Cassante. Like, it doesn't matter.
I
for,
mean,
like,
right. I guess if you're thinking of that, then you should just get like a Lord Doms or something. But he was honestly not really in your guys' fights. It's kind of hard to tell.
I agree. Yeah, I
But
mean,
you guys
even
were gonna win no matter what. You built that game, in my opinion. You guys had soul. You guys were chilling.
yeah, and even he had a hex drinker at the end of the game. So
Yeah. Yeah. As long as you build something with intention and like make use out of it, that's all that really matters. You know, you could have built incorrectly, but if you play around it, you can still make it work and do as much damage as possible. You know.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working as well, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I got it.
No, that was good work. You know, it'll make you more productive at your workday. It's an
Yeah,
important
it
part.
is. It's a good break. It's a good break.
Breaks are
Good
important.
meetings.
I mean, especially League is so easy to just. I mean, if we were to flip the script, League is so easy to just play 14 game, like play, next. All
I
right,
felt yesterday.
I need to go to the bathroom and get some food, but next. You know, like it's just, it keeps on coming. That's why I'm a huge advocate of the best of 3 system, because it forces you to take a break, right? It's like, okay, care really hard for the next 2 to 3 games. And then that is taxing mentally, right? That's not something that's apparent to everyone, that your brain is your most used muscle in your entire body, and most of the calories in your body go towards your brain. And
Yeah.
it gets tired, right? Like, it literally, all the systems around it get tired if you strain it. Your eyes are strained, you're focusing, you're not breathing as much. All the things that come with competitive stress need a moment to come back down.
Yeah, yesterday I just had like a big block of like no meetings, and I played, like I said, I was just tilt queuing I think for like 5 or 6 games in a row, and then I was just like, I need to stop. And then I just worked till like 7 p.m. because I had to make up for it.
Well, now you're part of now you're a Giga gamer, so now you know.
Now I know.
Just build it in, that little break. I mean, sometimes especially when you're playing with friends, it's a much easier thing to play more games, and it's less taxing because you've got the social interaction, you're having fun, you're doing all of the social things that make League fun. And I do believe that League was, it's a game that's meant to be played as 5, right? And the interactions, everything about it's more fun. You get to communicate, you strategize, you have fun with your friends. That makes it less demanding as well. Whereas solo queue, you have to feel, there's 4 other egos that may not be aligned with yours, and that can always be tricky. So that's why I think it's so valuable to build in breaks.
Yep, 100%. Well, thank you again.
Yeah, man.
Leave you here. Focus.
All right, Tom Kench and Misfortune. Tom Kench going to get in our face. We're going to do the thing again. We're going to go sweeper first.
Doing the D shield tech.
Yeah.
Okay. How does it feel?
It feels fantastic. It's like absolutely dominant when in the moments that you need it. It's not as good on Rakan, who isn't looking to pick the fights early, but we've been doing our like Jarvan Senna, Tom Kench Senna type lanes, and going double Dorans in those situations is just fantastic. It is just so obviously great.
Yeah, D-Blade on Pike feels really nice. You get just so much AD at level 1.
Oh, yeah. Well, Pike is... I can't believe they jacked up
HP.
this stats the way they did.
He's still not very good, unfortunately.
You don't think he's very good?
He's good for what he's good for.
Yeah.
Which is always, it doesn't matter what his numbers are. He's the best level 1, best level 2 champion in the game, but...
Yeah, but when
if you can't get a lot done early, then you're done in 20 minutes and you're not winning by like 10k. But he's a good time. I think he's good at what he's good at. So
the stat changes, I think, comfortably put him back into mid lane, and especially with Profane Hydra being as strong as it is. You remember the days of mid lane Pike?
Yeah.
And it's just like so strong. You go Hail of Blades, I imagine, or do you go Electrocute?
I always go Hail of Blades.
Lagging for a sec, okay. The Eve nerfs were so massive. I did the review on the skill cap video earlier, and they're like 5% is not that big a deal, but like her early game, she casts that spell 36 times per clear. That is a significant chunk of change.
Is it a Q nerf, I guess, then?
Yeah, Q nerf by 5% on her AP.
Yeah.
Probably actually could have shielded this for the Jinx. It's like this lane right here where you have a Misfortune harass Tom Kench that could get up in our face. It feels so good to have this shield and not have to care about the extra damage, right? It just like whittles away. But
And you got second wind too, so you're invincible.
right. No amount of their poke is gonna whittle me down enough. It's like I feel like set right now. I'm the baddest Vestian around. Guys looking to just farm.
An enemy has been slain.
Yep, we're good. He wants it right here. This lane is super gankable, but Eve and Nunu are on the top side. Tom Kench just got a ward down. Maybe taking a few too many of those Qs. But again, like, it doesn't matter. I feel like I've taken so many hits here, and I still am super comfortable with where I'm at. Maybe I wouldn't be taking as much if I had the World Atlas. But, like, it just doesn't slow down. The item comes online so quickly anyways that I never feel that I'm losing anything. You just got the... Okay, no, not quite. And we get the push, so we get a good reset. Beautiful. They're gonna try to hold this. Jinx wants to push it. Okay. We don't know where their jungler is. I like this guy's communicating. We have this ward right here, so we should be able to see anything they're doing. He wants to push, so we'll help him push, and we're good. Clean. Even with like small little fumbles and getting hit by a couple extra spells, it still feels so nice to walk out of the lane and be like, yeah, like, didn't need to try too hard, didn't need to do anything too extra, and just, we're good, you know, simple lane phase, and then we'll carry the fights later. Darius actually wins this. He was able to stack up all of his stacks here. He's not even trying to help him with his mana. That is sad.
An ally has been slain.
I'll go help with Eve. How's married life? You're going on what, 6 months now?
Yeah, just about 6 months is next month. So
Okay.
yeah, it's been good.
You guys have figured out
Settled in where we're living, so feels nice. But yeah, everything's been good.
charm him. What's wrong with charming him? Oh. The getting the first Void Crub is significantly better than getting the rest, and I feel like we could have just gone for one. I also, you know what, I should start doing that as a default on support. Not sticking around. I feel bad because I know they shouldn't stay for it, and I want to help them, but it's always making me way late to bot lane. And also the second grub is so much worse than the first, right? You don't get the jungle item bonuses, you don't get the extra gold or experience, and then it notifies them when you take 2. Weak bot light. Serrated Dark's stronger for combat than Berserker Boost, though, isn't it? I think this Jinx is a very good player, actually. I'm getting Smurf vibes.
Yeah, probably. Their pings and their movement really nice.
Yeah, it's just buttery smooth, and also like terminology, like they bought light, and just knowing exactly like, okay, you know, we've got to step up for this wave. We can clear one more before we go. Wave management's good. They look buttery smooth. So I'm probably just going to stay with the Jinx this game. Darius is doing fine on their own. This would almost definitely be a window where I would roam and try to get something together, but I feel very confident that she's going to be able to carry this game.
Yeah, you can't really gank with just Corky mid against the alpha. It's kind of hard.
Yeah. But, I mean, but
Doesn't have enough
Evelyn
damage.
can give me some...
Evelyn's there, maybe, but, yeah.
They see you. That is suicide. Eve is trying to make up for Jinx's brilliance. Get out, dude. I'm not even gonna try to help them. We're just gonna keep pushing this. I feel bad, but sometimes you just accept those, like... You have to get out. Actually, if we bait them into a fight, that would be fantastic. Are they wrapped on? Oh, wrong target. Tried to hit the Oswald there. I feel bad. Nah, the word's definitely wrong. Okay, never mind. I found what puts them into Emerald.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
I will just try to empower them. Let them get solo. Do you make an effort of doing that, or do you prioritize killing the turret faster? The first plate?
No, if I can get solo plate, I always give it.
Yeah, it seems.
Unless I'm on pike and I like need a spike, you know, like a dirk or something.
Right. Yeah, that would be the only reason. Like, if I'm close to an item, then
yeah, that's like the only circumstance. Or like if I'm at like 400 golds for my support item, then I would hit the tower just to get the make sure I can get my upgrade when I base.
Right.
Yeah, but if that's not the case, I'm given like 99% of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the default needs to be give, and then if there's a reason to not give, then don't give. Right? Like either pressing time. Also, the fact that the Void Grubs are now present for more like omnipresent pushing power through plates with all the true damage. Like, I feel like that adds up so quickly.
Yeah, it's yeah, the grubs are pretty strong, but still gotta get the gold to the right people. That's a good play.
What do you think about me going after the ward back there? In my mind, I was saying that the fight was done and I wanted to call back, so I went back for it, but I didn't communicate it to him. What do you think?
I don't think you pinged enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that was like the only difference.
I agree.
Like, you gotta spam ping the red back ping, you know? It's so abrasive, you know?
Yeah. I was definitely typing to the man.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, not typing to the man. I was talking to chat and not typing to the man. And that is always going to be a detractor. All right, I'm going to move over here.
An enemy has been slain.
Top lane's already done. Darius is dunking this Mordekaiser. Makes sense. Gonna protect Jinx for this motion. Good. Down here. If I get hit here, it's on me. I walked straight through that. Just gonna die for no reason. That was very loose by me. Not a good idea. Okay. What would you do here? Stay with Corki or stay with Jinx?
I mean, you need Jinx to be mid.
I need Jinx to be mid,
So-
but they're not, you know.
Yeah, you do. You can hit this tower though. Just hit the tower and then fight. These guys in team.
Yep, that's Yasuo under
Okay,
Darius. As a 2-item Darius as well. Try to block some spells. I don't know if I can offer much more besides that though.
Just wait for him to come out. Yeah.
Good. Kind of like that jockeying right there.
You guys phased him out really well. Everybody in your team, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good movement. I want to be hitting this. Blocking for Jinx. We got it. Quirky pattern. Beautiful. That's what we're talking
And
about.
Gorky just won you guys the game right there. That was nice.
Yeah, that was massive.
That should be GG from there.
That's what I'm talking about, he says. God, these guys, man, they just have to rub it in on their teammate's face. Just imagine if they just didn't do that. Take notes, Eve. They, another thing that changed is they noted Dreammaker. They quoted it as a buff, but they made it worse until level 11, so I think that's just a hard nerf.
I feel like the item was doing nothing regardless, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
It's so
I feel
little.
like if you could go, even on enchanters, you should just go Zac if you can, you know. Or the Slay. Even Nami was running Slay.
Right. think we're in a pretty good spot, yeah. Baited that guy into an awful spot. Awful. He was pinging forward. I did not like it, and I don't think that even facilitated him for the right movement there. I can't even buy this. I'm not level 9. That's funny. Do the same thing, vision here and here. Darius can go fight Nunu, that's fine for us. Can go pick up those zombie wards, although those will auto apply, right? Go.
Your turret has been destroyed. Killing spree.
Even Darius on the other side of the map. Jinx should completely crush a Mordekaiser as long as he doesn't get hit by the... Picking up the wave is fine too. Darius is pushing there. I'd love to just take this. They have no business stopping us.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Healing right here. Like, if we're able to extract with just 1 death, that's a win. We got out with 0 deaths. Wow. Oh, there it is. Unfortunately, the most important person. This guy's teleporting in. He's got package. Vision over here. We're good. This guy's a god. We got Penta. We have Penta. A tank for this guy. What a guy. What a guy we are. That's right. I got you. I'll give him the fist bump.
This guy's gotta be going off right now. He's gotta be so hyped.
Yeah, that was sick. He's like, what? Oh, they're diving for me? Yeah, that was huge. That guy just took that fight. It was in his face, too. Well, we have to be careful. They're respawning.
You guys needed to base like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, yep. That was me talking about pentas and hype, and 100% leaving is good. What do I want? I do not.
Knight's Vow is pretty good. You just put it on Jinx and...
You know what? I never even... Forgot to even put this
you
in my
don't build
wheel.
this item's good.
It is good.
Actually,
I don't even have it... Or I think I took it off my wheel, or is it here?
It doesn't look
Yeah,
like
I forgot to put it on. That's why I never buy it. I don't know how I missed it. This is inting. No. No vision. Just take this. Give D, get B. All our vision is around Baron. Oh, Corky's in. Jesus Christ. Did you get ulted? Oh no, he went off to the side. No. You don't know what's over there. I feel like I'm not even gonna help this guy. He can get out on his own. People are so stubborn with that. They're like, they never want to respect how much the vision matters. I do one cycle of spells, and then unless my team needs it for damage, I start joining with the zoning plan.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Nah, she walked right back into the trap.
Yep. Good to hit me. So I say you can hit me. Alright, you can hit me now. Zoning W. GG. So I had an awesome conversation with Cupcake on Monday.
Nice.
It was mostly just about coaching philosophies, like best of threes, 3 blocks, you know, how to get out of here, how to express ideas, and then clout in general. It seemed like he was trying to nudge me away from coaching. I don't know, it's the glean I got, but it's a tough sell anytime that you're lower ranked than someone. But my answer is always, since when has a coach ever been the better player? Right? Like, it just doesn't happen. You would be the player. The coach is the person who's meant to organize people and unite people behind an idea, turn 5 players into the best versions of themselves, and then turn that into something stronger than what they could become on their own. And it's tough, right? Because people, especially gamers, often are so solitary, and they want to take that path themselves. But it was funny. He was very much on board with Medios having some interesting takes. I think he said, his exact quote was, "Well, as expected, there were pretty awful Medios takes." I couldn't help but laughing to that.
Yeah, he's got some out there takes.
Well, you know, it makes sense. And there might even be people who function best in that world where it's, you know, hands off. And the way he explained it, it's like, all right, you can, it's palpable that he has a physical reaction to someone telling him that he's at fault for something. And you could hear it in the way he was talking about Zabatine saying, like, we lost bot because we didn't have any pressure. And, you know, there is a world where coach might be wrong. And that can absolutely happen. But his reaction was, well, of course they're down. Like, of course I'm not going to put pressure there. They're down 50 CS and 2 kills. And then you think about it, it's like, well, that might be because we didn't have jungle pressure, right? Like, they might have known that they could press this lead as hard as they could. But, you know, I'm pretty sure his bot lane was getting gapped game after game.
I was going to say, did you watch that? That was Optic. I don't know if you watched those games, but that was when, I don't even remember. I think it was like Arrow, who's not bad. But then he had like Big or something. Like,
yeah.
Big is one of the worst supports in LCS history, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's a good, I think he was good at like decent shot caller, but had like no hands at all. Yeah. And then I think they put in Neo, his name is now, and he did okay, but his team was like, so yeah, not good.
I don't think that team had a great chance, you know, from the start. But
yeah, but it's funny because they had decent players. They had Dokla, who's good now, Power of Evil, who was good back then, and even more in the last few years. He's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he was gapping people in mid.
And it's like, dang, okay, you'd think their team would actually be good, but that was during the when the LCS was actually pretty competitive, so, or more competitive.
Yeah.
And so I feel like LCS has always been fairly competitive, not meaning everybody's good, but the teams are pretty equal.
It's interesting how the rankings came together and then converged. I mean, largely because Cloud9 was imploding, and they basically they lost to all 3 of the bottom ranked teams after
this
split, yeah.
This split, yeah.
And so that helped everything converge between 7 and 2 and 3 and 6, and it made everything look really tight. But then, like, Cloud9 should be I mean, they are the most talented roster right? And Fly is head and shoulders above everyone else, and Cloud9 is head and shoulders above FlyQuest as far as talent.
I think Cloud9.
But it's a really interesting dynamic because JoJo is coming from a world where he was the guy and the plan was around him, right? And Cloud9's been a team that have learned to play around Blabber. And there seemed to be a very obvious rift between the two of them. And then JoJo, what did he say in an interview recently about like what champion would you delete? And he said, I would delete the jungle position. And like, you can't say that without it being a direct insult to your jungler, right? Even if you think that that's true about the game, and it felt like a really toxic take, and indicative of someone that doesn't trust their current jungler for sure. And that's a really awkward spot to be in, but hopefully they united behind something. But I still think that team is actually going to implode. The worst thing that happened to EG was winning the spring split 2 years ago. That is the worst thing that could have happened to them. I will maintain that, because Danny.
I mean, no, man, no way.
No.
I mean, I would say no, because EG as an org is the reason why they exploded, not the players themselves. In my opinion, I don't know if you're familiar with Valorant, but EG literally won Valorant Worlds, and then everyone left except one player because they've been trying to sell out of esports for a while now, and so like the infrastructure is just terrible over there. I think that's the bigger reason. I do think that they were pretty immature, and winning kind of didn't help them too. Like that trip to MSI was kind of rough, but I think their upper management and CEO are the ones to blame for that.
Okay. I can certainly.
That's my take, at least.
No, I can certainly. Well, they would amplify each other, right? If both of those things are negative, detracting multipliers, and then they, you're going to get a compounding effect if both of those things are present. Because that team, so going into that season, they immediately, it was very apparent that Danny had just won rookie of the split. He came in summer of the year before. And then JoJo came in, and in his very first game, you're like, this guy's different, right? Like, and they've got inspired in the jungle, like the impact veteran presence in the top lane. This team is going to be very good. And back then, people had them ranked at like 7th in the power rankings. I was like, no, you guys, I mean, maybe they might be 7th right now, but this will be the best team that we've ever sent to Worlds. And they're going to need time to grow, and they're going to have to grow together. And then they had like a topsy-turvy, highlight or bust spring season. And then they were 4th in the playoffs, and then they ended up winning. And that was a team that everyone expected Cloud9 to be the runaway favorites that season. So not only do they get a ego boost that was too big for what they could handle, I don't think they were ready as players. Like Danny had an exploitable lane phase. He was still a bad laner. And despite that, he was leading the league in kills by like 28, largely due to multiple Zeri pentakills. But that team was not ready to go to a world stage yet. And they went there thinking that they were hot shit because they just beat Cloud9, a team that everyone expected to be 18-0, right? And so they're like, oh, we beat this like gargantuan team. We're the best team ever. We go there and we get embarrassed, and bot lane gets gapped at every match, right? Even against the moderate teams there, they got crushed. And against the Korean and Chinese teams, it was ugly. And then social media turned on them. And then because they were inexperienced young players, 18 and 17, and Danny was not set up for success in that situation as well. I think that just was a catastrophic emotional roller coaster, right? You were at the peak, and then you're at the abysmal bottom, and it was too much too soon. I think they needed time to build up their anime story arc.
Yeah, that's true. Who was their support? Was it Ignar?
Vulcan?
I don't think it was it Vulcan?
See?
Yeah. I think you're right.
MSI 2021. Gee. Was it 2022? It must have been 2022. Drug and alcohol testing. Miss Universe. Oh, MIS. Whoops. SI22G Daniel. This is still just Danny. EG versus T1. Yeah, Vulcan.
Vulcan.
Yep. Like this team right here, this team's stacked, right? You give them some time working together, you have MVP winners that can actually. Did Vulcan win an MVP as well?
I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't think so. I think he made. I think Vulcan made it
He's
to
been
rank
like
one.
first team All Pro. I think.
Yeah.
I think Core JJ is the only support to win
MVP. I think you're right.
MVP in NA. Yeah.
I think Vulcan was 200 LP higher than the next highest player that season in the ladder. So there was discussion about it, but yeah, he wasn't quite there. But still, there was like their lane phase was just not good, and it was punishable at every rank. And then the other people like Impact, while being a very solid player, is not on the level of someone like Zeus. So that becomes a problem. Inspired, very similar, although he has a higher ceiling. But JoJo could have done it, but then he recently gave in an interview that, you know, the first time they went to MSI, and he's thinking like, yeah, you know, I'm this good, I'm the superstar, everyone's blowing me up, I'm the next Faker, and then he plays against Faker and gets stomped. Do you remember this? This matchup in particular.
Yeah. No, they looked really bad at this MSI.
Yeah. Yep. And
like they were the worst team there. I feel like they were worse than some of the wild card regions.
Yeah, it was not pretty, and I will forever blame that it happened too quickly. But like that's out of your control. You know, you win. You're like you're trying to win. It's not like you're trying to finish not first. But the fact that they went to MSI that year was hugely damaging for them, because then they got obliterated in this tournament. Right? They went 0-6, I think. I want to say they went 0-6 in group.
I don't think they won. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they won one game.
See if the Law Wiki has it for us, the group stage. Season.
Oh yeah, well I guess EG made it out of their group, but because they went third, fourth, it says right there, but that doesn't really do it justice.
Okay, something's wrong.
This was the weird.
Format,
though, right?
This was the weird format, and their pool was 2 minor teams.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah, so they made it out of this, and this was the like. No. This is the pool of teams as they're being placed. Hold on. This was. They had to do something weird for this group.
Oh, a team couldn't make it. The Bongvu wasn't able to play, I think.
That's right. Because
of COVID. The BCS team wasn't able to because they couldn't play in tournaments for like 2 years or something like that.
That's right.
The BCS league.
Got you. And this was the time that they murdered the OS region, and like that team could not compete at all. But they got destroyed by G2 in all their games, and then this was enough to get them into the knockouts. But then
I remember now. Yeah, that format was so bad. The new format they way better.
I think the new Worlds format is going to take over every tournament that can possibly adapt it. I think it was so good. It's incredible, right? It causes drama at every single level. There are no dead games. The people who are out quickly are still out quickly, but it's still like it happens where you feel like you can fight, and it makes for a narrative on 0-2 teams playing against each other. Whereas before you're like, the 0-2 teams are playing, they have a low chance of making it out. Maybe one of them gets a win for a chance.
Like Timo or something.
Yeah, but now they that's right, Timo into Casante. But now they actually have something more to play for. Yeah, they got obliterated by RNG in the semis.
Yeah. The Valorant is doing Swiss with their tournament that's coming up, and I'm curious to see how that goes because it's only 8 teams. So I believe it's instead of going 3 wins, you just got to get 2. But I'm curious how that would look like with half the amount of teams. Because I think Swiss and it gets you better games when there are more teams, I think. So I'm curious I think that's maybe the reason why they wouldn't do that for MSI, but it would still be good, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Well, they could even go.
MSI is too long, too, in my opinion. Worlds can be a month. MSI should not be a month.
Yeah, and it does mess up their seasons too, because like then they have no breaks. You want to train hard for MSI, and then the split starts 8 days after MSI ends, and you're like, I'm literally still shell shocked by everything going on. Oh man, what a ride! NA, we'll see. Yeah, the distance is opening. Unfortunately, I'm fairly certain.
I think the only good European team is G2 though right now. So
yeah,
I think NA could still probably beat the other European teams. They just look messy. Not like they're not good or skilled, but they're pretty messy.
Well, Mad Lions is in a similar position where they're 4 rookies with Elyoya, so they're using the T1 model of let me keep my MVP and Rookie of the Year, keep him, and then build around him with young guys and see if they built like no they were coming into the season as a D tier team. I remember watching the Euphoria, and they were ranking the teams, and they had Mad Lions like, what can we expect from 4 rookies? And then Winter Split is the least meaningful split out of all of them in all of the pro leagues, but still for them to come out that hot that early, that's going to be a huge burst of confidence. And then they lose to G2, so now they're still going to be hungry, right? I'm still hungry. I'm not here yet. We got more to work on. I hope they get a couple more fires lit under their butts, trying to realize that you got stuff to work on. It's possible you can be very good, but the region as a whole didn't look that strong, and I think G2 is going to be worse for it just because they're getting worse competition than they had in previous years. What kind of contract do you think Nemesis would have to take to get back into pro?
Do you think he's been offered?
He's gotten offers. Yeah, he's gotten offered spots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. It has to be
the second best player.
Probably.
I think he's the second best player in the region after Caps. He's gotten spots offered in Korea, in fact, as well. And he's just like, nah, it's not worth it, because the amount of time I'd have to take for the team, and especially if I have to play for a bad team, my brand is not going to get better.
Oh yeah.
And
LCK, their top teams all have mid laners that are better than he is.
Yep.
I mean, not like he would be able to hang with them, but like, are you replacing Showmaker?
Yeah.
Zeka, Faker? Yeah.
No way, right? And that's the thing. Those top 4 teams, they have the best laners, right? It is Chovy, Faker, BDD, Showmaker, and then like even Zeka, right, on the edge, and those are the best teams. It's not even close, and they have the whole thing built around them. You know what I'm really excited for, and this will be the last thing before I have to go. I watched BLG, and BLG picked up Knight. All right, so they're combining the best things of BLG and then taking up a significantly younger and more talented player, Knight, compared to Yagao. And BLG was very, very good last year. And Elk is playing out of his mind. Bin is playing out of his mind. That team is stacked. And watching their game, not only were they playing great, almost to the point of like limit testing, which is great. I want them to do that even against the best teams, where they're saying, this is not our goal. Our goal is to get even better. After they limit test and after they crushed, I guess it was RNG, it must have been the game, they all threw up T1 World Championship emotes. And to me, it's like, that is 5 guys that know what their target is. Like, they just dominated the maybe second or third best team in the region. They're not thinking about dominating RNG. They're coming for you, T1. Like, I am so hyped for Worlds right now. It is 6 months away, and I'm hyped. I can't wait for BLG versus T1, and Gen G is going to be great, obviously, as well. Like that, when I saw that, when they made the play bot lane, it was like a 4-man dive executed where they just, one, then the other. They reset the aggro in between each kill too. So it was kill, step back. All right, come back in. Gragas's turn. Take aggro. Boom. Belly bop. Come up. W. Take the aggro. Step back. Next person come up. I don't know if it was Ivern or whoever. And they just one after the other, and they just killed everybody. And then they threw up the T1 championship emotes. And it was like, that is, whew, I can feel that. That is palpable. Their focus is going to be on another level. I think that they have a good chance of winning Worlds if they can maintain that special level of focus. Kawaii.
Very
Oh, go ahead.
competitive.
Yeah,
Sorry. Good.
No, it's okay. Kawaii just won a game with Fresh Top on my team. Yeah, congrats. That feels good when you're unsure of what's going to happen. Used to play. Yeah, we'll have to think about using Flex more. Maybe that is the place to do it, because Norms, it is noticeable. It is very obvious that the game is different in Norms.
Yeah.
I feel like
Or you can just get a second account or something, but like even then,
even then,
I think it's hard to not practice or to practice something that could potentially work. Like you can achieve that goal, but it's mostly because your opponents are not playing correctly. You know what I mean?
right.
Like even if I'm working on something, I'll do it in ranked, because it's like it is what it is. I mean, yeah, just the difference between playing a game in gold or diamond is just way too big. I could probably do everything wrong and still manage to like complete my goal in like a lower elo bracket, or like a lower rated game. But
Well, it depends
on what your flex queue rank MMR is and your norms and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends what your goal is, right? If your goal is get 100 CS and you're playing in normal gold games, they're not going to pressure you off the CS, so it's very easy to do it.
Exactly.
But but that's why you can say, like, in lanes where I have a wave to myself, I never lose any of the minions. Like, that can be a more specific thing that doesn't matter how the strength of the opponent is. You're just collecting, making sure that you don't lose focus, and that you collect all 6 or all 7, whatever.
Yeah,
that threshold.
why League is lame-o, because there's no practice mode.
And
no way to truly practice except for playing for 30 minutes, even if you want to practice something in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
Unless you got a lot of friends.
Well, that's why.
They're down to just run early game, and that's it. And you got 10 people,
Yeah, no, and that's one of the practice things that makes it hard to practice. The players want to just play another game. Licorice was the first one who basically boycotted ranked solo queue. He's like, there is no reason for me to play solo queue. I am going to get bad practice. This will make me a worse player. And then Riot implemented the rule that you had to be diamond. And so it basically forced him to play enough games to just get to diamond and then play. And they were doing it.
Diamond 1, I believe. Yeah.
The diamond 1,
yeah. You had to be diamond 1, yeah.
So he'd play exactly enough games to get there. And it's just like, this is just a waste of my time. Like, what am I doing? And it was meant to stop teams from tanking. But I don't think that would ever have helped, because you could literally get 10 volunteers from the ladder, from the top 100 players, right? Like, you could just get 10 players who are like, hey, want to play for a pro team? 100% they would jump to sign at that. So I don't think it was blocking the intended effect. Then last year, unfortunately, when they removed that restriction, it was met with wildly negative response. They're like, oh, they're giving up on it. They're removing this restriction. They're going to let trolls in. It's like, no, like, this is a positive thing. This is making it so that Licorice, who doesn't want to play in ranked, doesn't need to. And there was I don't know if it was a patch note or a blog release where they said, we don't want you to feel like you have to practice to enjoy League of Legends. And that's fine for the mass that doesn't want to practice, but for the people who want to get good, there needs to be a functional practice tool. And especially if you want your product to be a showcase, right? You want those people to be as good as possible. But then saying, like, we don't want you to have to feel like you have to practice. And yet every new champion that comes out, you have to, like, write a master's, a dissertation on League of Legends just to understand what's going on in the bot lane, right? Like, it is that level of complicated. People should have access to better training. I would love for them to have a functional practice tool, and their product would be better, right? The people would be better if they could continue to just test and and Licorice does it. I applaud him for doing it, and he stuck by it, and he apparently argued really hard with the PA to try to get that done. But it's a step in the right direction. But until they give us a like fully customizable game, and specifically Chrono Break, I think they're worried that Chrono Break will be used to hack, and that's why they don't want to give it to people. But being able to go over a game state and just like pressing play on the same game state, you can recreate the pressure of the fight, the dynamics, the shape, because that's the one thing that NA is significantly worse than the E stat is team fighting and positioning. Right, the hardest thing in the game is keeping track of what's going on in a stressful situation like that, and we just don't do it nearly as well as especially the Chinese teams and then the best Korean teams. The Chinese teams do it so much that they kind of just got used to it, I think. But the Korean teams make a point, like they move as a unit, and you can see it's Kasante in front with the lesser off tanks on the side, like the jungle. Who do I want to put here? It was like Kasante in front with like Sejuani Nautilus on his like shoulder guards, and then the AD carry tucked between that wall of all three of them, and then the Akali off in the bush to the side, right? And they're just moving up as this cohesive unit, keeping that shape. And as long as they have that shape, the AD carry knows he can't be hit by anything. And those sentries on the side are protecting against flanks while you're presenting your own flank. It's beautiful to watch when they're doing it. All right, I gotta go. I gotta pick up the kiddos. But thanks for hanging out, man.
Take care, man.
Peace. All right, thanks guys for the support. I appreciate you so much, and thanks for the tips. Kawaii, thank you so much. And Turbo, I love to hear that you guys are having fun in League of Legends again. We will be live again tomorrow. We've got Theater Thursday, so we're going to be reviewing pro games. If you guys see a game that you absolutely want to see reviewed, make sure that you leave it in the comments below, or you can send it to me on Discord. Until then, keep it surreal, and I'll catch you guys next time.